Sure.
Scott, can you do my makeup?
I mean, I will. I'm actually not horrible at it, but don't let me near your eyes. And when people do my eyes, I'm like,
I actually am super, super good at doing beauty makeup on men.
I mean, I used to do drama and ballet, so I have to wear makeup for doing those things. Because
Well, hello everybody, welcome. We're live. Makeup talk. Sorry about that. XSplit just decided to not respond to any clicking at all, so I just had to hard close it and reboot it. But we're back, and for those of you who do not believe, it is General's Directive tonight. And if you're wondering why, it's because we are now at a point in the story where both games are going to start directly impacting one another.
hates us.
I do. I hate you.
Yeah.
But
I
also,
just you're using the green screen. I gotta turn my other light on.
Scott does too, because Mike immediately said that Scott and he had a conversation, and Scott was like, "Hey, our players are really happy with where Fate in the Stars is, Mike. We should not ever play it again."
Is that what happened? Secretly behind the cameras?
Yeah, you and Scott are conniving behind our back.
Timeline-wise, General's Directive is like in-game over a year behind where Fate is in the Stars is. So they need to catch up because now things that happen here are going to send waves over here and vice versa. So we have to get General's Directive caught up.
Let me explain this slightly better than Mike. The timeline.
I thought that was pretty fucking clear.
The timeline, what's happening in General's Directive and what's happening in Fitz, GD and Fitz have never been. You don't know where they are, so it could be like 17 years apart, or it could be like the same day. We've never actually drawn a line of conclusion. So that's what. So Mike, I don't know what you mean by a year behind.
Because you guys have been in hyperspace so much in Fitz that you guys have been about 7 or 8 months in hyperspace all told, while General's Directive has spent maybe a month in hyperspace. Maybe.
Which is why if General's Directive started like 8 months, 10 months after when Fitz did. We talked about this. How are you so dumb?
Because you never gave me an answer as to when General's Directive started. Just like you're the one that told me to tell them 2 days ahead of time that they were doing General's Directive, and I did, and then you yelled at me for it.
On each other.
And then you yelled at me for it and blamed me in Discord like it was my fault. You're like, just tell them a couple
Mike,
days.
you're
ago.
That was
fired.
2 days
You're
before. You told us one day. You told us
You had
yesterday.
all of yesterday and all of today.
We're supposed to be
That's 2
so
days.
many days in
Today doesn't count.
Oh, it
today
counts.
is today. You
It counts.
like you can't count today.
It counts. It
Mike.
counts.
Hey,
It
everybody
counts.
in chat. Me and Maggie are the big glasses sisters today.
Aw.
This is my lazy AF look. I thought I was gonna have time to
Straight up.
present myself, but nope, this is what you get.
Me and my bald brother.
No.
There's my cell phone. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh,
Well,
Oh, cool. So, anyways,
Way to bring it down, Wade. What the heck, man?
so Mike,
right.
officially, you're fired. Wade, you're promoted.
Finally. Finally.
F
You
Snow
promoted Wade?
removed Mathis from all of the.
He Scott can't run any show without somebody he can talk down to. So, like,
If you
I
go
get
there,
That's not
replaced.
true. That's
Wade
not
has
true.
to
at all.
go.
Ollie and I don't act that way. Ollie and I do things very, very friendly.
shit.
Yeah.
You really want to go with that?
It's a natty one. That's why it's shit, not shot.
Right, Ollie?
I don't think Ollie's even in here and chat's already yelling
Oh.
bullshit.
He's sick today.
Exactly.
yeah, he has not been feeling good.
Poor boy.
Ollie, sending you love.
And I said nice things to him because he's sick. See, I said nice things to him because you're sick.
So whenever I hear like I say or I said, I just
you go back in time. I understand.
I told him I'd make him love
What's
soup, and chat
going
took it really wrong.
Surprise, surprise.
When does chat not take it wrong?
The key is just to do it wrong to begin with.
Wait, do I get paid for this promotion?
No.
I mean,
I definitely don't want it then.
I don't want it.
we'll
You
work
get lucky you, Wade. You get a blue die on your first roll for every game.
Blue die have never done shit for us.
Should we start with rolling some Destiny points or
I
Frost
think
points?
so.
I think we should.
we'll discuss the details.
No. More responsibility with less money.
No,
That's like
no.
real life.
No. Wait. How about this? As I wait, open
Why are
roll
there
20.
5 dark side points when I synced with GM?
Well, hang on, because it hasn't been changed since the last
He
time we
has.
played.
He hasn't let
Boom,
us
boom.
do the thing.
Oh, that's right. We've never actually needed. We've always needed points on our side. We've never actually had to have them used against us. I forgot.
So why don't we actually roll for those light side v
Oh
dark side?
man, I forgot like her motivations and obligations. She's so fucking terrible. She's like Erisvula is like the most terrible person.
I
Okay.
really need to adjust my coloring.
Okay, I'll sync. Sorry.
I'm not this.
No, you're
yellow.
fine. All right, 50-50. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's good.
50-50.
You guys get 2, I get 2. We're all happy. All right.
Are we though?
No,
Mm-mm.
Happy enough.
I'm pretty sure we exist in a permanent state of unhappiness on this show.
I like
Yeah.
how I asked, "Are we all happy?" and everyone made like some form of a grunting noise. That was
I
like,
just didn't say anything at all.
That is your form of a
You
grunting
didn't
noise.
say anything, but you made a sound.
You're either happy or neutral. Neutral is you're upset.
No, she made it like a
I
sound.
get so pissed. I get so mad.
Oh, we've seen you mad.
I know.
Cora's problemos. You're just like fucking A, I can't roll, and it's all because of
At least
RNG.
force lightning on Trini last week.
RNG legit hates me so much.
It's okay.
Mike, are you showing the rolls?
No, I'm not. Please XSplit. Play nice. Okay, there we go.
Sorry, Mike's been having a couple of bugs. That's why we were
There we
starting
go.
late today, is because Mike had a couple of technical difficulties. So
No, it was totally my fault why we're starting late.
that was one of the reasons. I just didn't want to call you out for it.
Oh yeah, I definitely had a problem working.
No. Listen, I have to come clean. It was all Mike's fault.
No, see, this is no.
It's
wait,
rarely
stop.
my
I
fault, but this
started
time you can
it.
definitely blame me.
I 100% blame Scott and Mike.
All right, that's fair.
I'm fine with
Fair.
that.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, you know
Share
what
the
else you should
blame.
blame me for? Getting the story started. So last time on
Dragon Ball.
General's Directive that actually
on General's Directive.
Yeah.
I heard. Well, it's very Dragon Ball Z. I heard last General's Directive was a nice filler app.
Wade goes to the
Powered up the whole time.
This isn't even my final form.
Oh, my wife's texting me a ton. She's so awesome. So, last time on for what matters for this beginning part, for this opening scene that we have going on here, 2 sessions ago, not last session, we had Lotris was at a ball, at a gala, sorry, and where there was a bunch of artwork on display and whatnot, and he was actually having conversations with several different persons of interest. These were senators of the of Coruscant, which is actually where the ship is currently stationed, is currently landed. The senators that he met with, or had intended to meet with, were, I'm just going to say the first names, were Jaco, who's a human male, Skyly, who's a human female, there's Mias, who is a Bothan female, that's the one you spent most of your time with, and there was Uguns, who is Uguns Kull, who is a Syrian male. You also met with Say, that's Say Tori is her full name, that's the Kiminoan female. But of those 5 that you met with either very briefly or for an extended period, 4 of them agreed to meet with you the next day at a relatively nice location where you can have a few drinks and it'd be private. Nobody's going to be bothering you. Say Tori, you had a wonderful conversation with her where more or less she called you out for everything that you were doing and said, I'm not mad at you though. Let's keep in touch in the future, but I'm not going to play your little game. And you were like,
I think she needed a reason to join the game, is what it was. Because she didn't like, what's her face that I was based. Yeah, she didn't like Rebecca as much as everybody else, but she's like, I need a reason. So I was like, and I'll get back to you with a reason or something along those lines.
Yep, you need to find a reason for it along the way, but more or less, she is not willing to go and divulge more information than she already has to you. Information is not something you could just barter with a simple threat to her.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I don't think I was threatening her though.
but or any other simple means.
Yeah.
So the all 4 of them were looking to meet with you at this establishment. So this is the day before Wade. Sorry, this is the day that Wade and that's what's his name, Urath, goes to the DMV. I mean, police station to go and get Naga back. So
My
the
driver's
same-
license, yeah.
the same day that happened and eventually killed him and all of that other fun stuff and actually got Gan or Tiny or whatever it was back.
Tiny.
the same day that all that transpired, Mathis, you have your character was meeting with these at this establishment.
Yep.
So I said beforehand, it's not like this is the nicest establishment in Coruscant, but it is a rather ritzy one, and it's one that you can have a lot of privacy in. It's one where they more or less they trust the owner to give privacy when politicians are having their dealings and whatnot. And I don't necessarily mean shady, evil backdoor dealings. I mean, like let's talk about policy and stuff. That'll be interrupted or listened in on. So you go to this location, and when you, I imagine that morning when you get ready, you make sure you wear one of your nicer outfits that you have.
Sure.
God, I forgot we have Old Bastion.
That's where me and you are right now.
I know.
You busted me out following you.
Mike doesn't know who that is, so
No, I have no idea.
I know. I can't wait. I just it hit me. Sorry. Go ahead.
so moving on. The next morning, you get up and you leave, and the ship's being worked on. There's some weird noises happening on the other side of the ship, but you're kind of focused on what it is that you need to do, and you're not going straight to that location anyways. But you're going to spend a little time in Coruscant, kind of breathing it in. You know that you spoke with senators last night, and it went easily. But you've spent a lot of time in hyperspace and on other smaller worlds, so it's nice to kind of breathe in the air and get familiar with it. So when you leave the ship that morning, wearing one of your nicer outfits, one of the perks of living on a ship is you don't have one outfit all the time, even if Star Wars would tell you otherwise. You actually have a wardrobe, unlike adventurers in D&D.
Yeah.
So you go walking throughout Coruscant, biding your time. I imagine there's nothing significant that you want to do other than just taking in the city, having a good meal, so on and so forth.
Experience the luxuries I've been deprived of for a little while.
Exactly. So you... and Ollie responded. He said, I'm mostly on and off. Cheers, though. See?
Aww.
I'm going to send him a heart emote and love. False
Send him Doxy love. His
Um,
favorite emote on Twitch is Doxy Call Me, actually.
Oh, hey-o. Yeah. I'll send that to him later. I got to keep him, got to tantalize him a little bit. In the meanwhile, shut the fuck up, Mike. I'm trying to talk to you. So,
I didn't say anything. What are you talking about?
you're walking through the place, kind of taking in, having meals. That evening, when you finally meet with the senators, when you finally actually have your meeting with them, do you intend to show up early, like perfectly on time, late? What's your approach?
Oh, always early. With senators, I'm going to be there early.
Okay. So you intend to get there before everybody else, sort of a thing? Are you talking 15 minutes or an hour and a half?
He'd err on the side of an hour and a half.
Okay, so you get there nice and early, and when you go walking into the establishment, you can actually see that this place, it's open. There's various people that are here having their meals. Like I said, it's a nice location. So there are others that are dressed very well, having their meals, dates, and just meetings with friends, and so on and so forth. That's in the typical part. That's actually rather high up in Coruscant and overlooks one of the more wealthy districts in the city planet. So it's actually a nice look outside the windows, and it is mostly glass all around you. When you go walking into the location, kind of you take a step in and you're taking it in, looking at the multi-level seating and the areas where there's lots of glass that people have their glasses and whatnot sit on, and it's just very advanced looking and very. I mean, it's not that you dislike this stuff, but it's not like it's your favorite either. But you certainly have a little. You have a taste for it.
Mm-hmm.
From time to time, you have this taste for it. Going to that gala was scratching of an old itch. As soon as you walk into the place, someone approaches you and says, "Excuse me, I believe that you are Latris, yes?"
I'll just smile and nod.
Would you come with me?
Who is this? Like a human?
It's a Syrian.
Okay, big, tall-headed dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll follow.
Okay, you follow after him. It's clear that the person works here. There's no concerns about that. As they lead you through the establishment and then all the finer spots, they lead you up a rather nice stairwell. The stairs themselves are comprised of a glass that you can somewhat see through. So as you're stepping, if you're looking down on the steps, you actually see through to the level beneath you and the fine dining that's happening there. But the front kick plates of the steps are actually mirrored, so you can see back into the area behind you. And it gives this illusion that almost takes a moment for you to okay, let's step past this before you just kind of get in your own head. I can do this. As you make your way up the fancy stairwell into the area above, he leads you over to a room that actually has two guards standing outside of it. You can tell that these guards clearly are members of the Coruscant personal guard for the for the senators here. So as you go approaching them, they just kind of like give you the spin around and give you like the motion. You know you're going to be pat down and all that stuff.
Sure.
So they do that. They pat down. Actually, both of them do it. It's not like it's a tandem thing. They take turns doing it. Is there anything on your person that would be of notes there?
Not like weaponry? God, no.
Would you bring a protective weapon with you traveling through the city? Like you wouldn't bring your sword, but would you bring a light blaster?
Well, we're not like the drudges of Coruscant, so I wouldn't.
Okay. So they don't find anything like that on you. However, of course, they do find your data pad on you, and they find your comm on you.
Did I say I was gonna bring a physical book to this as well? I think I did. I think there was a couple people I said I'd bring actual physical books with.
Yeah. So you have a handful of those on you. I don't imagine you're carrying them. I imagine they're in like a satchel or a
Sure,
pack
something along those lines. Yeah.
And so they would search through that and they would find the books and they would kind of like look to each other and like both of them would grab the books and kind of like flip through them. It bothers you because like they have like gloved hands to search through everything and they're not very gentle with it, but you know that they're being careful. They just take your, like I said, comm pad and your data pad and your comm.
Okay.
And they let you in. When you go into the establishment, you can actually already see that Mias is sitting there. This is once again the Bothan that you had spent a lot of time beforehand.
Okay.
She's standing on the far side of the room. She has her back to you. She's wearing an elegant gown that's flowing off of her nicely, and she's looking out of the window wall that's in this room as well, down to Coruscant below. Once again, just an amazing view that's there. Not just out the window, but also standing before it. She hears the door shut behind her, and she slowly turns around to see you there.
I just smile and place the books gently on the. I'm assuming there's like a conference table in this room.
There is, of course.
Yeah, I'll just place the books and smile, and I'll just kind of like give her one of those friendly like nods, but I'm not going to open conversation unless she does.
She smiles back at you and makes her way most of the way over to where you are, slowly, elegantly, and then she stops. Like I said, most of the way across and gestures towards a bar that's sitting there. She's like. She has the wine glass in one hand and gestures towards a bar to see if you want to drink as well.
I'll smile and say I'd love to, and I'll just go over to the bar.
Okay, you pour yourself a drink.
Yeah.
From here, she has very light conversation with you.
Sure.
Nothing really worth noting. Like she one of those things where she's like, did you spend much time in Coruscant? Which districts? Oh, I love going to that place. Again, very light-hearted conversation. You guys did hit it off very well before until you kind of like dropped that bomb on her, where kind of like her tone to you didn't completely change, but she got a little bit more rigid when she realized there was like an ulterior motive to your meeting with her last time. Because when she realized it had to do with Rebecca versus just like lighter conversation, she did change a little bit. But she's friendly again. After like hour or so passes, everybody shows up. The last one to be there, of course, is going to be Jaco. Which, if you remember correctly, Jaco was kind of the ass.
I was gonna say he was the mean one, right?
Yeah, he was the older guy that was kind of a jerk to you. And so when they finally, when everybody comes in, and once again, very light conversation, they actually get into a little bit of political talk. And did you hear the way that they gave that speech? I mean, honestly, didn't you think they'd want to represent their people just a little bit better than that? And that kind of stuff, which you're listening to it, and maybe in a former life you'd have cared more, but you certainly don't now.
Okay.
Eventually, Jaco comes in. He's like a solid 15 minutes late. It's like to the dot, 15 minutes late, just enough to keep everybody annoyed enough that they're waiting for him. He walks in the room. It's so perfectly rehearsed that all of you expected it anyways.
Yeah.
And as he comes walking in, one of the things that you notice is as the door snaps open and shut, you actually can see out there the number of guards that are outside that door is actually greater than it was when you first arrived here. And you can also see that they're wearing different uniforms. Not everybody's wearing the same exact outfit as the two when you first got here. So once he walks in, the door snaps shut behind him. He looks across the room and says, "So I've made it. Let's skip the pleasantries and get to business." And he immediately walks over to the bar, pours himself a 3-finger pour, and stands over at the end of the table that is as far from everybody else as possible.
Okay. Great. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. That's fine.
Everyone else is, of course, sitting
Okay.
and have had pleasant talks until now.
Okay. Well, once he stands, I assume once he stands, everybody kind of goes silent then, and like is expecting.
Yeah, everybody gets silent. Their eyes are drawn to you,
Okay.
And I would even say Mias would chime in and say, Well, Jaco does make a point. We are here for a reason, and we all have rather full schedules.
Launchers kind of like looks them each like kind of just slowly across the table, and then he'll stand just to make sure he's speaking with like respect to them more or less, and to say, well, the four of you, I appreciate all four of you coming, though 5 were invited. The 4 of you are more than enough. There's a common thread that runs between you and you and you and you, and unfortunately all those threads tie into me. A thread that causes and has caused and may continue to cause you problems and has started to cause me problems.
Jaco's already losing patience and interest and walks over to put his back to you and staring outside the window.
That's fine. It doesn't seem to shake Lotris pretty much. He'll place his hands kind of on the books and just say, and that particular thread is a woman by the name of Rebecca.
He turns back around.
I thought that'd get your attention. Yes, Rebecca, the servant of, or one of the closer servants to.
It's Mariari.
Yeah, but thinking of her last name, Tench, General Tench. Gunner. Why did I say Tench? Gunner of General Gunner. It's like So yeah, when he turns around, it's like I thought that'd get your attention. Yes. Rebecca, the servant of General Gunner, has been a rather large thorn in my side recently, and from what I've learned, and those I've talked to and some records I've gone through, she has been a rather large thorn in your sides, and either continues to do so, or the damage that she's done to you is permanent enough that she doesn't have to actively be a thorn in your side anymore to let her damage linger. I'm offering something quite simple. Let's remove her. Together.
Jaco will walk forward because everybody else kind of like looks at each other and looks to you listening. Nobody's really so much as to
say anything yet.
Jaco will walk forward, taking a sip of his drink, and puts it down with a heavy kind of a smack on the table, rings for a moment, and he says, "So you're an assassin then?"
He laughs. No, well, a political one.
What do you mean? Get rid of her how?
You are all senators. I myself am a learned politician in ways. I'm not looking to put a gun to her head and blow her brains out. I'm looking to undermine her and have General Gunner look at her in a less optimistic light. Put her back on the dirt she belongs in. Politically speaking.
What do you need?
I'm looking to try an information trade of sorts. What you have on her, and I can share what I have on her. And, of course, I promised some of you, and I kind of slapped the books gently, things that are difficult to come by.
You can see the interest at the table because, books, even if it's not something that you're interested in, you know the value of them in general.
Exactly. I kind of
thing. It's not really something that you sell unless it's in the black market.
Right. And I kind of tap my fingers on it. Information that has not been tainted by the HoloNet or those who have decided to transcribe that information onto the HoloNet, or whatever digital libraries you may visit. Right from the source, information.
It's funny because when you say the phrase digital library, it's almost one of those things where, like, when somebody says, it's like when somebody says ATM machine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's like redundant. When you say digital library, it's like, yeah, libraries are digital. So when you say digital library, it almost sounds as stupid.
It's been so common for however many hundreds of years, that they go together.
Exactly.
Yep.
So so when you say digital library, it even sounds funny in your mouth, even though it's technically correct.
Yeah.
And so they take it in, and the first one to bite is going to be Skyly. That's the human female.
Okay.
She chimes in and says, "Well, some of us, well, I can't speak for everybody here, but some of us, the dirt that we have in her, the information, my apologies, that we have on her could be simply what it was that she did to cross us as individuals. I'm not sure that that's going to be a lot for you to work with since we already know what it is."
Lotchus kind of, like, he takes that deep breath and he's like, yes, but you are also politicians on one of the most occupied planets in all the galaxy. You have power and sway in a way that a senator in a mid-rim world or further wouldn't.
The Syrian male, that's Ugun's Kol. Syrians are known for being very keen. So the Syrian male Ugun's Kol speaks up and says, "You're looking for threads, things that you can pull."
I thought I'd been pretty clear about that, yes. And you would ask, I presume, what do I offer in turn outside of books?
He nods.
Yeah. Being
Go ahead.
While the Empire is a remnant of what it once was, here in the core worlds, you know, specifically, that they hold a lot more power. They still have a lot of sway in how things go. There is a benefit, even if you disagree with the tactics and the goals of the Empire. There is always a benefit to snuggling close to those who have power. With Rebecca removed, it leaves a power vacuum. It just so happens that I am very close with the one that would take that spot.
So, this is Mia speaking. She says, "So, you're saying that in this back and forth that's happening, we're all aware," she says, looking about the room, "of what it is that's going on out there right now. You're saying that in this power vacuum, so in this vie for power, I should say, that you're taking Miriari's."
No. I'm saying I know the person who would take Rebecca's spot, and we'd have direct access through that person to Mariari.
Roll me for the first time. I'm going to make you roll something. Roll me what's insight in this game? Please remind me, Mike.
I want to say it's discipline.
I think you're actually
We've always gone with discipline.
Discipline is to tell if somebody's lying, isn't it? It is. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Discipline.
Okay.
So
Against what?
I'm actually going to give you a blue die on this.
Okay.
And the reason why you're getting a blue die is because of quality of RP that led up to it, and the bead that you got on them walking in, the research you did on them walking into this meeting.
Sure.
My apologies. Because you're dealing with senators and they're good at concealing their emotions,
Yeah.
it's actually going to be against 1 purple and 2 red.
Okay. So this is
you
just
get a blue
yep, and this is just against this is me just trying to figure out what they're thinking.
Yeah, you just kind of you just threw a bunch out there. Now you're trying to read the room before you continue.
I'm gonna use a light side point on this as well.
You're welcome to.
And I'll give myself an upgrade. All right, we good?
You up, not me down.
Yeah, me up.
Cool.
So that should give me.
I don't even know what you roll, so surprise me.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay. Oh, success. So as you lay that out there, out the room, and my apologies, what was the last thing that was actually said by you? It was
I was saying that you'd snuggle up close to. We have the person who'd replace Rebecca.
So you can actually see that 2 of them seem very, very genuinely very interested in this. And this is Mias and Ugun's Kol. They're the ones that seem most interested. And honestly, they're the ones that are kind of the nicest to you the whole while anyways. Skyly, she seems uneasy about it because this is some sort of probably, let's assume she's not corrupt in any way. This is some sort of backdoor dealing that she'd be getting herself involved in and making a decision of power that senators aren't supposed to legally do. And Jaco, however, you can actually see he is smiling. He's smiling, and you can tell that what he's trying to put forward is that he's interested, because he actually pulls out his chair and sits down. But there's some gleam in his eye that says maybe there's something behind that.
Okay, he's got other things running in the background. I got it. So that's basically 3 out of 4. With one being plotting ahead of time, which is smart. I'll let the silence, when I say that, I actually let the silence hang in the air.
Okay, so you let it hang for a little bit, and so Ugun's Kol, speaking up again, says, then what you want us to do then, to give you these threads for you to pull, is to give to you our own secrets, meaning More or less, you would have our threads as well. What benefit do we have? Why should we trust you with our secrets before we've even gained anything in return?
Uh, hasn't he gained something? Um, well, the speaking out to him just be well, quite blatantly. One of the first things I offer is the removal of her, which
Well,
is
there's a
something that can be
promise.
gained.
There's a promise of removal,
But I've also brought, and I push the books, as also promised, access to raw information. Here, now, and yours.
I am genuinely interested in this. I do want it. But I need to divulge my information to you with immediately for things that have taken place in the past or in the present, in exchange for hopes of something to transpire in the future. And the collateral is these books here, but these books can also be acquired other ways.
Yes.
For instance, a large sum of credits transferred to your account. So I'm asking, why should I?
Lotches actually laughs at that. He's like, I'm not that easily swayed. Money is not a pursuit of mine.
He nods. He's like, I can respect that, and it gives me an understanding of who you are as a person, but doesn't sway me anymore in telling you my dealings. And this, you can actually see that both Mias and Skyly are like looking to him, like, I wonder what his dealings are that he's so concerned. And Jaco is just absorbing the room and enjoying it.
Actually, yeah, then I'll look over to him and I will posit that question openly, after seeing them look over to him and kind of look curiously. It's like, and then your interests are what then, sir? What is it that has your eye, your mind? What words can I say that would hook you?
Deal less with words and more with actions. But I understand for you to take the action that you wish to, that you're promising, you need my words. So, we need to make another exchange, something that makes it a little bit more worth my while. Perhaps you have something in exchange that I may take, and hold as collateral for you. And then when he says this, what's her name? Mias actually does nod, like sheepishly nods along with that. And once again, Skyly goes from being curious from what it was that he was doing, that he's trying to hide, to I don't know if I'm comfortable with that kind of arrangement. And Jaco just spills out saying, all right, so what you got hiding in your closet, friend?
3 on, all of a sudden 1 off. That's fine. You can't win them all. Lotchus will actually continue looking at the Syrian, but smiling. It's like, I think I've made it pretty clear. I'm not one that chases physical representation of value, of worth. I don't care about credits or trinkets or lavish homes. Those things can come and go. What I can offer, and I'll openly offer it to all 4 of you, and I will openly give you the same information now. I am a scholar, specifically of ancient... He pauses for a moment. Specifically of the ancient ways of those who now call themselves the Sith and the Jedi.
Jaco seems to be very bored, and he's just behaving very immature for what you would expect of a senator, certainly a man of his age, and so on and so forth. He actually does one of those like.
I actually looked to him and I actually gestured to the door. I don't think you're locked in, sir.
He goes, oh no, I'm interested in what you have, and I'm interested in this deal, but I don't give a crap about dead religions of people that believed in voodoo. I care about more important things.
Was it not that dead religion who removed the emperor and deposed his first mate?
Supposedly the emperor was part of that religion himself. Listen, let churches kill their own kind. That's not my problem. You say you have somebody that's going to replace Rebecca. I want to know about this person. You say that you have someone that's going to take her place, and so you're looking to have that done for me. Fine. But what if I don't like the person taking his spot?
Lodge just kind of shrugs. Then you don't like her, and you want nothing to do with it. But I'm not going to put forth the name of the person that you'd get access to, and give you information that you could then turn and use against me with Rebecca if you choose that you don't like what I offer.
You make perfect sense to him, but you're actually going to be doing a coercion on that one. This is almost like a shut up and sit down. That's it doesn't have to be coercion. You can do a, let me just look at a character sheet really quickly. I will allow a coercion or a negotiation on that one.
They're equally poor. No, coercion's better.
Okay,
So I guess
and so because you're not going against the whole room, you're just
Yeah.
going against one person. You're actually going to be go against one purple and one red.
Okay.
It's your senators.
No blue. I'm assuming no blue die, right?
Correct. No blue die on this one.
All right, I'm just gonna roll flat on this one. I'm not gonna use our last.
I would actually, I'm going to be a dick. I'm not going to apply a black die just because he doesn't like you.
That's fine. Ha ha ha!
God, see, and you got back that strain. So it was easy. The words that you said were easy for you. They fall out of your mouth, and he just like, it's one of those, like, you say the words and he just completely understands. You know, like nods in agreement and actually kind of respects your response a little bit. And he's like, "Well, you're no fool."
I'm as practiced as you, sir. I just don't sit in a senator's chair.
So, go ahead. Tell me about this dead religion and why I care about it.
Well, he smiles. Again, I am not one for physical trinkets, but they hold great value, and for some, great information. I'll tell all four of you. I've been on the trail for quite some time, many, many, many years, of what is something known as a holocron.
When you say that, you can see that two of the senators, one of them like leans forward a little bit. This is the Syrian, Ugun's Kol. Sorry, I keep saying the race along with it. I just figure that's easier for people to remember because the names are complex. So this is the Syrian Ugun's Kol, like leans in a little bit, clearly like salivating. If you could, he'd be salivating for this kind of information. And you can actually see it skyly shifts uncomfortably in the chair.
I'll lay out all the information I've gathered as to where the last known potential location of this holocron has been, and I will put it before the four of you. Yours to do with that information as you please. Now, if you're one man for money, and he kind of looks to Jago, millions of credits to the right person. If you're one for information, he looks over to the Syrian. A knowledge that can only be ascertained once and one time alone.
The Syrian nods, and he's definitely enticed. Do me a favor. I'm going to start speaking, but roll me a discipline again. This one's far easier. You're actually going to roll against only 2 purple.
Okay.
And you'll get no blue or anything for it.
Okay. I mean, I still don't roll much for discipline, so it's going to be a triumphant failure.
Okay. So I'll say my words, and I'll give you the triumphant moment. So he says, he says that's very enticing, but it still leaves the point where you're offering something in the future when you want something for the now. So it's 2 future promises in exchange for a now, all under the premise that we trust you are actually a scholar of this and not just using words to convince us. Now, when he says that, one of the things kind of like comes to mind for you as he's speaking and whatnot. Something actually comes to mind. This name, Ko, that's his last name. So it's Ugun's Ko, C-O, Ko.
Okay.
You actually remember. Ko was the name of a family of Syrians that had a lot of influence and were oftentimes actually rulers of the Syrian home planet, not rulers as in like dictators,
Gotcha.
of the Syrian home planet. They have been in wealth for a very long time and actually had very strong relationships with the empire when the empire stood high. So it's very likely that members of the families have given into generals here and there and whatnot. Whether or not this person has, who knows? But you actually do remember he has his family has a lot of ties to it, so he definitely is very interested in something like a holocron.
Okay. I'll keep it simple with him then. I'm not gonna call him out on that specifically, but I'll keep that in the back of my mind, and I'll just kind of like level my eyes at him and just say, Can you please give me an example the last time two politicians made a deal and both got what they wanted right away?
He thinks for a moment, because it's Syrian. He genuinely thinks for a few moments, and then the time continues to pass, and it's just like dragging silence.
Yep. I let the silence drag as long as it goes.
Finally, Jaco says, "Oh, for the love of, are you just going to continue this on and on? There is not an example. We all compromise. That's why it's called a compromise. So either get the fuck out or sit there and have the conversation." He says to the Syrian, more or less what you said to him, Jaco, before. He's kind of like using it to the Syrian now.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so Ugun's call seems a bit pressured by that, and he like looks at him aggravated, looks at Jaco aggravated, then looks back at you and says, "Fine, your promises are too tempting for me to allow to pass. I agree to your terms." Mia sits there and she's like, "Well, I came to this meeting for a reason. You don't promise death.
No.
You promise
removal."
Very well. I can agree to that. Jacos crosses his arms across his chest and says, "I'm curious to see what dirt you guys have to offer." Like looking about the room, like it's going to be around like a AA meeting or something like that.
You see Latris sit back in his chair as people are finally starting to talk to one another. And
Skyler, you didn't say anything yet. Go ahead.
Okay, and all you see is you see Latris kind of put his hands on the books and gently push them to the table, like to the center of the table, and he just gestures like, "As long as you're gentle, first come, first serve. You're welcome to start tearing through."
Skyly actually pushes the chair back and stands up, and she's like, please roll me a discipline check. This is going to be 1 purple, 1 red."
Okay. Fail.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be a part of whatever this is. I think I've heard too much, and so I apologize, but I'm going to excuse myself. And she looks to the rest of the people at the table and says, "I'll be more than happy to pick up the tab for this evening, as opposed to splitting it equal ways." And she turns and starts to make her way out of the room.
I won't stop her.
You just let her go?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can say right now that would really convince her, especially in front of these 4. If I want to, I'll try and get her privately another time.
Okay. So you make your way out of the room. So she makes her way out of the room.
Once the door shuts, I look back to the other 3, but like, is she going to be a problem?
When you look back to the other 3, Ugun's call already has a book in his hands. And
No, I lean back and very, very just kind of casually ask, "Is she going to be a problem?"
Jaco, who is more interested in watching Ugun's call and how he's poring over this book like in his mind, a damned fool. You break like his concentration. He looks at you and shrugs and says, "I don't know. Who cares?"
Just mental note.
So Mias does say, Jaco brings up points that I would rather not. I don't think we should be having this conversation any further in front of anybody else. I'm willing to partake if you're willing to have these conversations private.
Of course.
Jaco's face falls.
No, he just Latris agrees.
She makes her way over to the bar, leaving behind her mostly drank glass of wine. She pours 2 drinks of something hard. A solid like 2-finger pour. Walks over to you to hand you a drink and starts walking out of the room.
Take the drink, and I will follow in suit.
When you walk out of the room, this is when you can actually get a sight of the other guards that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that there were the 2 guards that were standing there before, of course. But you can also see there's 3 other guards that are standing out there right now, each of them their own kind of uniform and so on and so forth. Do me a favor, please. Could you roll me an inner check?
A what?
It'd be a core worlds check, and it'd be against 3 purple.
3 purple, core worlds. Success.
Okay. So looking them over, you realize, like, just by the build of these people, the kind of armor they have, the issue of weapons that they're holding, so on and so forth, these clearly are private contractors.
Got it.
None of these people are government issued guards. So she walks down the hall with you and goes into another room. It's like across the hall, 2 doors over, and places her hand onto the pad, and the door opens up. And she gestures for you to go in. She follows behind you. When you go in there, you see a room exactly like the one that you were in beforehand, but it's only the two of you in there.
Okay.
The view outside the window is equally stunning, but obviously different.
Yep.
In that direction. As a matter of fact, from this room, you can even see the sunset. As the sun's setting, the windows themselves are gaining like a bit of a tint to it. I'm getting a bit of a tint to it. I was like, what's Maggie do? Oh. Because like she's at the bottom of the conversation. Mike's like right next to me. So there's a bit of a tint happening to make sure that you can see the full beauty of the sunset without it blinding you. Because unfortunately the amount of smog and everything in the atmosphere enhances the glare considerably. So you guys go walking into the room, and she goes over to the closest part of the table, and she sits on it. So she kind of like pops up onto the table. Bothans, remember, are short,
Yep.
but tables aren't particularly tall. So she sits on it, crosses her legs at the ankle, and says, okay,
Okay.
you wish to know my dealings with Rebecca.
Yes, and what you can do, if anything, to help in the removal of her.
I funded a few businesses a while back. It was unbeknownst to me at the time, and I do swear it, I didn't know when I had put my money into backing these companies.
Of course not.
Later on, they were found to be just corrupt through and through, from the top to the bottom. And I mean, even the average employee, the likelihood of finding a corrupt one is more likely than finding one who is willing to do just an honest pay to bring food home to their family. Worst off, they happen to be the dealings of de Schehoeksen, Siuth.
Okay.
Bless you.
I know, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Notes. Okay.
The Hut.
The Hut ran the company?
This is actually, so like I said, it was one of those things where it happened to be, and it's in chat for you, Mike. So it's Deskuchin Ziuth, the Hut.
Chat and yep, I see it. Got it. Oh man.
Her
Oh,
Bothan mouth has a hard time pronouncing it.
I'm sure my
Very hard
mouth
time.
would also have a hard time.
But watch, I'll give you an example. Wade, can you pronounce that name for me, please?
Yes.
See, Bothans have a hard time. I feel
The
bad.
Hut.
The Hut. So okay, continue with her spiel.
Can you put that name in the Roll20 chat?
I did.
I don't see it.
I will. I got you.
I'll do it again. And oh, my apologies to Roll20 chat. And then Maggie, can you actually do me a little favor? Could you actually pronounce that name for me as well?
Why?
Go ahead.
It's actually not that bad.
Deskuchin Zueth.
See, once again, a Bothan.
The Hut.
Even if she died a long time ago or got taken home by her family, a Bothan can't pronounce
I
it.
was pronouncing my version of the name. I wasn't trying to pronounce your version of the name.
Deskuchin.
It's Deskuchin.
Deskuchin.
Desk house. She.
Deskuchin Zeus.
Yep.
Desk house.
Deskuchin Sooth.
So starting from the top, because we goofed off for a bit there, I funded a few businesses that were completely corrupt from the top to the bottom. Almost all the employees in at the lower level were corrupt. They're willing to take any bribe that you can give them. And were completely just terrible people. Nobody wanted to just make our honest days pay to take home to their family. Blah, blah, blah. And there was the shady dealings of Deskushin Zuth the Hut.
What's the senator's name again?
The senator's
Mias.
Mias, and it's Favusa. And I actually throw that into
Got it.
both the chats as well.
No problem. Bothan.
That's Kyle. That's funny.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, Mias, and she says, I was a part of it. These companies, information came out of what was going wrong, what was happening. I, like I said, had a lot of share into those companies and had been a part of a lot of meetings with them for my personal business dealings. Invested a lot into it. Anyways, when all the news started to break out of what they were involved in, I panicked. I was now going to be tied in with it, and I even heard whispers. We all have our channels. That I was going to be implicated for certain things. That's when I met Rebecca.
Mm.
She wiped the information from public record. Any involvement I had with it, completely scrubbed. There's currently no records that I know of that have any ties to me in those businesses. She did it for an extremely steep fee. An extremely steep fee. And occasionally, she likes to remind me of what she did, and likes to keep in touch to have occasional additional deposits into her certain accounts.
So I can make the assumption that she still has evidence of these corrupt dealings that you had.
Unfortunately, that's what I have to assume as well. I'm not foolish enough to buck I almost said Bothan. Bantha.
And I can only assume that these negative dealings that you've had with Rebecca have maybe made you less than ready to deal with General Gunner more directly because of these things that are being hung over your head.
I have avoided more meetings than you can even imagine with that.
He's Lotris just smile. He's like, "What a shame that that General Gunner is potentially losing such a great ally over petty squabbles of her underling."
I always assumed that it was Gunner that gave the order for it.
She may have, but do you truly think she also gave Rebecca the order to keep that and blackmail you for money from time to time? Of course, I imagine General Gunner would offer you this freedom and take a chunk of your money. That's just standard operating procedure when it comes to politics. But the continued squeezing for more money, I have a feeling that doesn't come from higher up the chain.
Well, here I am, giving you that information. You asked what way I can assist you in taking it down.
And it's appreciated. And I offered you something in turn.
Oh, sorry. That wasn't meant to be. Maybe misunderstood. That wasn't meant to be like an ending for her.
Oh, I thought that was the ending. Yes.
That was the information, and then you all asked for something for it to help take her down.
Yeah.
And so she actually pulls out a small little data chip. Mind you, you don't have your data pad on. She pulls out a small little data chip, and she's holding it in her hand. She says, "This is encrypted. These are the accounts and the amount that I've transferred. It's all records of everything that I've had to send to her over time. This is the only copy of this that exists from my end. Obviously, I don't know what her end. And it's, like I said, the accounts that she has me wire the money to. All the banks and everything."
Lotris he takes this very seriously. He's not really smiling or any of that. And he'll in turn actually pull out a data chip of his own. And just kind of holding it. I'm like, I don't have my data pad on me, but you're a senator. Do you have yours?
She thinks it's funny that you said that because, like, it's wiles, right? You're clearly smarter than you come off as. She walks over to the far end of the table and places her hand on the table, and you actually see part of the table opens up, and she reaches in and pulls out a data pad that's set in the table. And you can imagine this is like one that's kind of set for the room, maybe not necessarily hers personal one. And she walks over with it. Once again, as she walks, she has a bit of a sultry way to her step.
Lotris just kind of holds the data chip out. The last lead I had on this very particular artifact that I've been looking for. Now, mind you, the information on this is the information I'm going to give to everybody else who agrees. And holocrons tend to be a first come, first serve venture. Keep that in mind.
She smiles and says, "Then perhaps you and I should continue to build on our friendship." And she does one of those, like she puts the chip into your hand and takes the chip out of your hand at the same time. She puts it into your palm, takes one out of your hands. She allows like two of her fingers to ever so gently caress from your wrist down to your fingertip as she pulls her hand back.
Lotris, assuming that's kind of the end of the deal, unless she has anything else to say, he'll actually kind of pocket it and smile. And he's like, when he starts making his way for the door, he finishes his drink, places the empty glass on like a nearby stand near the door, and he stops and just kind of speaks over his shoulder. "I hope you've been to Byblos before. You might be spending some time there."
She ponders what you said, nods, and then you leave the room, I imagine.
Yep.
And you leave the room. As you're getting into the door, back to where you were beforehand with the others, you hear her coming out of the room. And as you're like walking in to greet them, and I'll get to that in a second, you can see outside the door behind you, she's leaving with her personal guard.
Yep.
And so now that you're there, inside the room with the others, you can see that Jaco has taken a book and he's been kind of like leafing through it, like clearly not interested in what's in them. He's just like leafing through it, much harder than you would want. It's like when you watch a child, and I say this because I'm a dad, when you watch a child turn the page of a book, and you're like, it didn't rip, but it should have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just hurts a little. So, like for instance, I have this book here that I love reading to my daughter, and my daughter rips the pages. It's like how could you rip the pages to a ABCs of RPGs?
Because screw the letter C.
Fair
Yeah,
enough, but she
yeah.
ripped more than just one page. But anyways, so moving on.
So Launchus will just be like, I believe the appointment for a Jago is now up.
So he looks up, snaps the book shut, much like people would do nowadays. Again, hurts you a little. Places it down in a way that probably bends the corner in the front cover.
God, this guy.
And
Get him out of here as soon as possible. Let's go.
And walks over to the door, opens it, and says, "Please, Your Excellence."
Oh, you do me too well. And I just walk down the hall to the same room and go in there and all that other stuff. Sweet, thanks for the gift sub, by the way. Abnormalities.
Woo!
Walk out of the same room where the windows are tinted and stuff, and he can come in and shut the door. And once he's in, I'll just kind of wheel to him and just very bluntly gesture towards him, like, "What's up?"
So you walked over to the room. You opened the door and everything, correct?
Yep.
And you went in first?
I opened the door, let him in first, followed in, shut the door.
Do me a favor. Roll me a perception check. This is actually just gonna be 2 purple average.
Okay. Is he perceptive? I can never remember. Yeah, pretty perceptive. There you go.
Okay. Wow, that was a lucky roll. If there ever was one. So I think you got back all the strain that you've gained this whole while.
Yep.
Well, I think.
Well, because I lost it, went back to 0, gained a couple more, lost it.
You've gained 3 over time.
Yeah, so
and
I'm back down
got
to
one.
1.
Good for you. So he comes walking. So as he is walking over, you see him go, and you open the door, and you kind of like saw that as he was walking over, and his personal guard is coming to this room with the 2 of you.
When I see that, I'm like, is the guard necessary?
He looks back at the guard and looks at you and says, "I don't know," and then continues walking forward, like expecting you to walk.
I laugh, and I'll continue following. If you are so threatened by me to have a personal guard stand ready, then perhaps you're all bravado and nothing more. Leave them outside the door. You don't need them in the room with you.
Coercion.
Oh,
This
Jesus.
is because it's a senator. Again, 1 and 1. And because he doesn't like you, a black.
Of course.
Do you want to use a?
No, I don't care that much.
Cool. I'm going to use a dark side point on this one.
Sure. Am I upgrading the difficulty?
I'm going to, upgrade the difficulty. It's going to be a shitty one for you. Give me 1 second. Where's my rolls? It's been a while since I DM'd in this.
You just gotta pop a point.
Dark side. There we go.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Hell yeah! Eat it, nerd.
What? Come on!
How?
What the
How?
fuck?
Like, Doxy has rolled with like a bajillion bonuses, and she against like a 1 purple, and then you're just like 2 reds and a black. No problem. I'll just use my 2 greens. Like, what?
I gotta set up for the miserable
all
failure.
you have to say is "eat it, nerd."
Yeah, like what?
We're fighting.
Can I- to all the diehard LI viewers that have been there since the beginning, this
What?
is the same way the stream went the day that Thonk died. So, anyways, you
What's
say
Thonk
that,
do? Oh, because he just like took forever to die because I was rolling well.
True.
I got
So-
like a couple kills off, and they still struggled.
You
All right,
almost
continue.
killed their whole party. Like,
I don't think I was. I was almost close to killing 3 of the 4.
So you say the thing.
Yeah.
He actually. It's one of those, again, he gains respect when you give like these kind of like pushbacks. It's like that bully that you're dick back to, and they're like, okay, I think higher of you for this. And so he just like waves off the guard with like a simple
Yeah.
and walks into the room ahead of you as opposed to behind you now.
Okay. I walk in following him, and again, once the door is shut, I just kind of like turn to him and let him begin to speak, because I'm sure he wants to talk.
He first goes over to the window, and he actually pulls something out of his pockets and places it on the window itself. It like sticks to the window, and he taps it, and you can see like a red light starting to blink. And then he walks back across the room.
Jammer?
Yep.
Okay.
He walks back across the room to meet with you, and he's like, "All right, so you think you can take care of her? Fine, I'm willing to work with you, kid." It's funny because you might be older than him despite his age.
Probably. I actually smile. I'm like, I don't think I could take care of her, not without your help.
Once again, it's one of those things where your character keeps saying the right thing, and he like hates the fact that he's starting to like you.
Good. This is the kind of relationship I need to build with a politician like this.
So he my apologies. So he doesn't sit on the table. He goes straight over to the bar. He pours a shot for each of you, and he goes over and hands you the shot.
All right, I take the shot.
You take the shot as well. And he's like, "My wife,
What about her?
she's a pain in my ass."
Your wife, Rebecca?
No.
Lotcha says that kind of laughing.
We had part of this conversation. My wife, she was a pain in my ass, and honestly, she was getting a little old. I couldn't get rid of her because, the way the public views is an election year, so on and so forth. I had to keep things kind of clean. So anyways, I put my fingers out there, and they grasped hold of Rebecca. And Rebecca was wonderful. Not only did my wife go missing, while on a pleasure cruise around Chasma, Rebecca actually introduced me to my new wife, and she is flexible.
I hate this guy already.
Yeah.
Lotris, however, when he says, she's flexible, Lotris just flashes a grin and lets out a lighthearted chuckle. And she's trustworthy?
Oh, she's gone through the ringer. She wasn't happy. She is now.
To dumb math this, like, what the hell does he mean by that?
He more or less, she was probably tortured at some point.
Oh, to make sure that she wasn't working for Rebecca behind the scenes kind of thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Lotris just continues along with the conversation. But let me guess. Rebecca maintained proof that she did that dirty job for you.
I haven't talked to Rebecca at all. Nope, I haven't. However, she's talked to associates of mine.
Of course.
And those associates have been, well, she's been a pain in my side because these associates are ones that I have that others don't know that I have. And I'm not going to go into any more details than that, you understand? So those associates have been tricky as of late since I've discovered that she's been a part of it. So I need to have her removed so things can go back to smooth sailing. As to whether or not she has details about my wife, I'm sure she does, but I don't care. Just kill the bitch.
Lotris just kind of chuckles.
Oh, sorry. By kill the bitch, I mean make sure that her ship goes missing on a pleasure cruise. Wherever it is she finds pleasure.
Are these associates of yours extorting you for money? I'm not asking their identity or what. I'm just merely asking, what are they bothering you with? Are they asking for political currency? Are they looking for actual currency?
It's people that have been in the shadows for a long time that are suddenly getting the minds to not be in the shadows anymore. And some of your friends, you don't want others to meet. Know what I'm saying?
No, of course.
We all got that cousin. The one that you just don't want to introduce to your significant other.
Mm. I'm trying to think if what he's telling me is going to be very useful to me.
For the record, Mike and I have an old friend. His name's Keith. Keith would have to date a girl for at least 6 months before he introduced her to me because he thought it maybe was a bit much.
Weird.
He thought you were a bit much?
Yeah.
He's like, well, Scott's a little intense. I was always afraid of scaring them off. I'm like, I think you have no opinion of the girl, but that's cool.
So the information he's offering me.
What did you do to them, Scott?
Me? Nothing. Ask Mike. I always met his girlfriends on the first or second date. So
I'm already married. I won't introduce Molly to Scott.
I've met Molly. We had tea.
Oh no.
Is what he's saying to get this back on track? Is what he's saying valuable? Because it doesn't feel valuable to me, and that's what I'm saying. Like it seems like it's like, yeah, she fucked me over.
Is there an intelligence check in this game?
No, but you can just.
There is actually. Yeah, you can make one. Whatever your character's. Well, let me look at your character.
I can just use an astrogation check. It's just base intelligence.
Poor Maggie. I always use her character sheet as the one for that stuff. Where is Lothris? Not astrogation. What is it called? Intellect. So you can do. I'll allow you to actually do a cunning check. Cunning? I'll allow you to do a cunning check.
Where is cunning?
Cunning is one of your characteristics.
Oh, but how do I roll that? Just add 3 greens?
It's just a flat 3 green. And I'm going to let you do a flat 3 green against 2 purple.
What is he rolling for specifically?
I'm basically trying to figure out if anything what he said is
No,
valuable.
I'm so sorry. That's stupid. It's a skullduggery check against.
Yeah.
2. There we
I
go.
was like, it
Against
seems
two
like
purple?
that's actually a skill.
Yeah.
Because you're
Two-
trying to see if he's like being shady, right?
Well, yeah, it's less. I know he's being shady. It's just
Yeah.
like, is he withholding the actual stuff that I need? Because he's just being like, Rebecca got rid of my wife. It's annoying. It's
roll your skullduggery for against. Yeah. Oh, and you succeed anyways. So what you kind of got from this, because this guy is obviously not intentionally not trying to give you too much information because he expects results, not really giving much.
yeah,
And you kind of got that vibe off of him, which is annoying, but you know who you're dealing with.
yeah.
The thing that you got probably the most off of him is the fact that where his wife went missing was around Chazwa. So maybe if you found more information around Chazwa, that would benefit you better.
So I have to go out and do a little research of my own. That's okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Easy enough. I'd just be curious. Yeah. I mean, it depends on what we find, if anything. All right. Actually, I clarify with him, because this is actually important. When you say you asked her to get rid of Rebecca, was there the understanding that it was to be permanent and that she would be killed? Or is it more subtle than that?
Get rid of his wife, you mean?
Yes. I asked him, like, what was, like, the actual details of the deal that you made?
He looks back at the blinking light on the window and looks back to you and said, I wanted her dead. It's better to not have evidence.
And that was Rebecca. And when Rebecca approached you, did she approach you on behalf of General Gunner? Or was it more Rebecca's doing you a solid just because she's Rebecca?
I knew Gunner had reliable people, and so I found Rebecca.
Good to know.
Gunner is military. They know how to get a job done.
That they
Special
do.
ops. That's where she came from.
That makes sense. Well, my end of the bargain. I reach in, take out a data card, data chip, and I just kind of lazily hold it over to him. Actually, when he gets close enough, I'll toss it to him instead. And I just kind of point that way. Those are the trail that I've been following and where it leads to currently. As I assume you know this, but I'll repeat it for the sake of fairness. Holocrons are rare and sought after, and they're a kind of one and done thing. So, first to get there will typically get the spoils. That track ends at Byblos, particularly to a household and a very specific person. Do with that information what you will.
He caught it in the air, but not deftly. I mean, again, he is an older guy, and he's more bluster than he is physically capable. He's a kind of a fumbled catch, but he does catch it.
Sure.
And he's annoyed with the fact that you made him look foolish for a second, and leaves the place.
Okay.
He's kind of like cursing to himself because it's like looking at the data chip, like, oh, fuck, do I care about this? But makes his way out of the thing, and you actually see, like, because you follow almost immediately behind him, he tosses the data chip to the guard and says, "You know where that goes," and walks out of the establishment, allowing you to go back to the other room where the Syrian is already reading the second book.
I just smile and like, save the best for last.
You say as you walk in.
Yeah.
It takes a moment of like silence. Then he looks up. Huh? Oh, hello.
Shall we?
He looks around and says, "We have our privacy."
Did he take his jammer, or did he leave it on the window?
He left on the because you threw the chip at him and ended up throwing him off a little. He ended up leaving it on the window. This is one of those, like, he got so flustered from the situation.
Yeah, yeah. I actually just kind of smile and be like, the drink's better in the other room. And I start to walk.
He thinks it's a little strange, but he follows with you anyways.
Yep.
And goes with you to the other area. So when you guys go walking in, who goes in first, you or him?
I'll wait by the door for it so he can go in first, and then I'll follow behind as always.
Sure. He goes walking in. He's actually still reading the book that he was holding at the time. He's got 3 other books. How many books did you bring with you? My apologies.
I brought a total of 3, I think.
So he has one other book tucked under his arm and one he's reading. He didn't have the 3rd book. The 3rd book was taken by Mias before she left the room because she had some interest in it beforehand. And just to find the answer to my brain question thingy, jammers. So comm jammers are usually encumbrance 4 things, right? Scramblers are encumbrance 0. So this is a comm scrambler.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is a 1,000 credit item.
I know.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet item. That's what
I
was
actually,
like,
once he walks in and I walk in behind and the door shuts, I actually kind of like gesture towards the window and hopefully, like, he's smart enough to figure it out.
Yep.
And when he turns around, when he maybe turns to face me, I'm like, I apologize for leaving you last, but I fear Jago's fingers on my books were going to do more harm than good, so.
He's like, "Oh, please don't apologize for that. It was an opportunity for me to have peace and quiet for reading. It's
And
very
care.
hard to come by."
So I gesture for him to grab a seat, and I ask him if he'd like anything to drink.
He says, "Oh no, I don't imbibe. I don't partake."
He uses like a sigh of relief. It leaves Lotris's lips. Like, good, okay. No more for me either, then.
It's funny, as Lotris thinks about that, he comes to realize that he happens to be a little intoxicated.
Oh, yeah.
And is going to be making the rest of his checks with 0. Oh, sorry, with a black die.
Yay!
If you were schmammered, I would give you a downgrade. But I'm not.
I'd get upgrades from that with Siam.
So anyways, he says, so I'm to give you my information and hopes for everything in exchange.
I actually will reach out in my pocket and pull out a data chip. I'm like, I have the information here.
That's the information for the holocron.
Everything that I have up to this point.
Holocrons are something that can only be used once.
I know.
So
I kind of place it on the table. It's off to the races for you after I get what I need, then.
So it's a race then.
Only if the 3 of you want it to be a race, you could work together.
That's very unlikely. People like Jaco are difficult to get along with for longer than a few hours' time.
A few minutes is testing.
So I, of course, am willing to go ahead with this plan. That's what we've discussed on. I've already received some small reward, and I genuinely appreciate it. These books are ones that I've never even heard of before, and the author is certainly one I've never heard of either, but clearly well-versed and well-knowledged in their field. Either way, I would like to sweeten the deal a little bit because I don't want to walk on this race side by side with others that are potentially more manipulative than I am.
Lotris actually chuckles at that. Somehow I doubt you. But continue. You speak like I do. And then he just smiles.
I know that the ship you flew in on,
Mm-hmm.
it's a rather nice vessel.
It's rather antique.
It is. And I also saw some of the damages that were being repaired over at the dock.
There were damages I don't remember, Scott. But I assume
Actually,
there were.
one of the
the
reasons why-
damages weren't like actual damages. It was just like scratches and stuff. But you know, Eris is
Gotcha.
like,
Okay. Gotcha.
no,
gotcha.
she like worships that ship. Like not worships that ship, but she sees it as like a valuable antique, and she wants to make sure it's kept in that kind of like mint condition.
Mm-hmm.
I've already moved a couple pieces around the board to make sure that as your friends try to find someone to do proper repairs on the ship, they would come across the person that they need. A little eccentric they might be, but they'll they'll find the one that's going to keep it in good shape. But having a good mechanic, since you've lost yours to the authorities,
Does
is not
Lotris
going-
know this?
Lotris knows that Kuka was freaking out last night.
Got it.
Because you just like kind of because there was that events they all over the drinking or whatever. You know that there was like something was off the next day, and Kuka was freaking out by something, but didn't really get all the details.
Okay.
So he says,
I would have informed him of the details. I mean, he's my
"Okay, there you go.
right.
All right, cool.
So Naga is missing.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Okay.
You believe."
Gotcha. Okay.
So so he says to make you since your mechanic is missing.
Things happen.
It's more than that though. That was a token of good faith for your captain and the crew that you're a part of. She's curious, isn't she? I'm wondering if that's the one you're referring to in the room. But we are here to.
Lotris starts to lean in. I'm dealing with someone who's very much like me.
We're here to discuss sweetening the deal for you. The ship that you travel on, which I find to be very unique, I now have provided for you a mechanic. Theoretically, provided for you a mechanic that you can use to keep it running well and the scratches well buffed off, but you don't necessarily have access to other things that can upgrade that ship and keep it in the tip-top shape to make sure that you're successful. The last thing we want is for you to be sucked into the vacuum of space before you accomplish the tasks that I need you to do.
Yes. And the chances of that particular mechanic ensuring that once those tasks are done, that we do get sucked into space and the ship gets returned to you.
I have no affiliation with him. None whatsoever.
Lotris just kind of continues to... I'm sure they're very much locked eyes to eyes and just continues that stare. And you want in return what?
I want a leg up in this race. I know that you can't guarantee victory, but I want assurance that I'm going to have a leg up in this race. So you say that's the location of the last known place, but what else do you know?
But that takes all the fun out of it.
I'm not one for fun. I'm one for winning.
The data chip contains the last known planet and household that it leads to. By a man named Zerat, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. He says, you've met with this man? You have this information already?
I have my ways.
So if you've already met with this man...
Oh, I have not met with Zerat.
But you have the location.
I have the location.
Then why don't we stop with the games of this chip, he says, and slides it like 2 inches to the side.
Yeah.
Sorry, I realized when I was doing the gesture, you guys couldn't see it because,
Boxed in. There you go. Perfect, thank you.
So he says, rather than wasting our time with this right here, why don't we give me the location and I'll have somebody off in that direction immediately.
You're not looking for him specifically. You're looking for the droid. Protocol droid. His runs in the family. As far as I know, and those who work and speak with me, currently in his possession, I believe, recently? Not entirely sure. That droid has the actual destination of what you're looking for. I don't know that. I don't know that, or rather, more specifically, I don't know where it leads. All I know is that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the protocol droid.
I have one more question then. And then we can conclude these dealings. You are interested in this because of the knowledge that you have, it's what you seek, so on and so forth. We're making a deal pertaining to this woman, this young lady, and this is a part of the sweetening of the deal. I understand it's meant to be a 3-way race. 4-way had Skyly had more of a stomach for these things. I could have told you that she didn't. But is it still a 4-way race? He says, looking at you pointedly.
As of right now? Oh, If you're asking if I'm still pursuing, I've been leisurely pursuing these past few months, but not nearly as fast as I could. So am I directly after it right now? No, I have more important things to attend to, unfortunately.
Okay. Fine. You've given me everything that you have. So were you to change your mind, he says sorry, he doesn't ask. He states, you've given me everything you have.
And if I were to jump back into this race for some reason or another, you and I would be on equal footing at best.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
We will continue forward with the deal as I've sweetened it on this final condition then. Because your mood can change between now and then. You will not leave port for 48 hours.
Deal. But I need everything you have.
I will be more than happy to do that for you. He actually does pull out a data pad.
And perhaps
with him.
a way to distract a young teenage hothead for 48 hours.
He smiles at that and says, I think you're going to like my secret.
Latras also leans back puts his hands behind his head and grins.
It's known to almost nobody, but 35% of the brothels on Coruscant are completely under my control, as well as a good number of the places we can find illicit goods. As you know, brothels aren't legal in Coruscant, but I have the connections to keep these areas not so investigated. So I use these brothels for the gathering of the information that I have and so on and so forth, and you can use those brothels to distract your team. That's not what I'm concerned about. Were brothels to be discovered, laws are already on the verge of changing. I've put things in motion to protect me. Honestly, I expect things to transition in my favor within 11 months, if not less. And I will be clean moving forward. It would be a mark from the past and nobody would care. It's how I fill my brothels that I'm concerned about.
I have a feeling Rebecca helps. What are the chances? Latras just kind of leans forward and grins. No, I don't expect an honest answer or even an answer that would entertain me. What are the chances one of your employees is a missing wife?
He thinks for a few seconds. I can get back to you on that one.
I would love it. Particularly a wife that, in maybe a past that she no longer remembers and an identity long forgotten, was once married to a senator.
You can see like you've caught him off guard. Like you don't even have to roll for insight for this one.
Sure.
You've caught him off guard with that. Not like he's completely thrown back or whatever.
Right. Just a little confused look from him.
And he seems intrigued. He says, I will get back to you when I have the information.
Rebecca seems to be one who likes to intermingle her businesses if she finds more profit in it, that's all. So, how does Rebecca stock your brothel? Where does she get her product?
It's a companion of hers. It's a man by the name of Skillian Bow.
What's the senator's name again?
This senator is Ugun's Co. I'll actually throw. So hold on one second. Here is the
shady
person that stocks
brothels,
and Ugun's Co. is the senator.
Supplied brothelites by Skillian Bow. Introduced by Rebecca. Okay.
Ugans is the one he's talking to right now, right?
Ugans is the one I'm talking to right now. Yep.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yep. He says, obviously that information is significant, so please don't go running with it.
Does she try to extort you because of this?
I don't speak to Rebecca directly any longer.
Of course not. Do you speak to those that she has in between is, I guess, more what I'm asking.
I speak to Skillian. That's who handles my dealings.
Okay.
Unfortunately, recently I've discovered that Skillian has kept a record of everything that has transpired. I found um, well, we have certain programs in place to see when copies are made, and there has certainly been a copy made, and there is certainly a large data file transferred um, on time every month, exactly the same time and exactly the same day. I discovered this not too long ago, a few months ago. I've allowed it to continue because I haven't had anything in play to resolve the situation. And in tracing where the information went to, it's not like it told me exactly where anybody was. It was a trail, but it is a place where I know Mariari often has her ships stationed.
So that's where he sends credits, you're saying?
That's right. No, that's where this guy sent information.
Oh, info.
Yeah.
And where would that be?
It's just a small world off of where did he say before? Oh no, small. Sorry, 1 second. I have the map open here. Sorry. It is Corson.
Of course. Lotris just kind of muses out loud to him. What interesting information for an in-between man to know and be letting loose so openly.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I don't think I got it. I'm sorry.
Are you saying that or is he saying that?
Scott, I'm saying that.
Oh, IG Lotris just says, what interesting information for a middleman of a middleman to not be encrypting, basically, and hiding from even a senator where this information goes.
Oh, he was
Failing
smart.
at encrypting?
He was smart. It's just I often have smarter people that owe me favors.
Makes him kind of an idiot. And idiots can get even those of the highest military ranking shot. Lotris just kind of nods and looks down. You'll probably want to take that chip anyway, even if you don't use it, just to make sure that you have your bases covered.
He nods and he says, with the data pad that he has there, he already plugs the chip in, so the information is starting to unencrypt for him.
Sure.
Because of whatever. Starts to unencrypt for him. But at the same time, he's going to, with a different small chip that he has, he uploads like a set of files into it, and he places it on the table for you to pick up, and says, right there is a list of places where you can find the appropriate parts and even the ports that are large enough and equipped well enough to properly handle your vessel for you. I imagine that would put you in favor with your captain.
He smiles. Her favor. Well, it's appreciated. And he'll just kind of pull the papers back and put it under his arm. Well, I think we have business to attend to. And Lotris briskly walks over to the signal scrambler and hits a couple buttons and hopefully pops it off the window and pockets it. It's like, if you need me, you know where I'll be for 48 hours at the very least.
He smiles and nods, and goes back to reading of the book.
And Lotris will just walk out and consider his day done.
Perfect. So you go walking out the room and everything, yay. So I'm so sorry, everybody. I know that was about an hour and a half, but it does put us on track for our breaks moving forward. We're going to take our break right now.
Yep.
Perfect timing because Doxy's probably already going, I got to pee. So,
Should have been really bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I went earlier during their conversation. I just turned up the volume so I could still hear it.
There you go. So why don't we take our first break? We'll come back in a few minutes with Lotris rejoining the party. And this is literally like, Lotris will probably go, we'll deal with it when we come back.
All right, we'll be back, guys. Go grab a drink, your usual. We'll be right back.
You know what I
Hello,
did do?
hello.
I
What did you
get
do?
myself a cup of water.
Right as we're back. All right. Hey, everybody, we're back. Scott's going to get a cup of water. So, guess we're running Faded in the Stars for
10-minute
about
break wasn't enough for him.
40 seconds, and everybody's dead.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Guys, let's roll new characters.
Yay!
All right, 2
All right.
hours of Faded in the Stars coming to you right now.
Listen,
Did you
mister.
really need to get a water, or were you trolling?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, Scott, take it away.
I currently have empty ones. You know what sucks is like I drink glasses of water throughout my house, but I have to do bottled water at my desk because God forbid I spilt that on my computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
All
my
right,
God.
Scott, be our dungeon daddy. Let's go.
All right, so Mike, when you go walking back to the place, it's actually fairly late. Like I said beforehand, there was the sun was setting right as you were walking out there, so on and so forth. Even though conversations may have seemed a little bit quicker because of like RP, it actually was rather extended beyond that. As you imagine, there was other bits involved, plus making your way all the way back to the ship. So getting back to the ship itself, you get there very late at night. The ship is quiet. The crew that's been working on the ship for the past couple of days has already gone, and
are you sure it's quiet?
at the moment, isn't it? Yeah,
Oh, maybe.
yeah, because it's very late at night. I don't think they worked overnight before. Did they?
Oh, okay. Everyone's sleeping. I see.
Yeah. It's because it's very late. So when you go there and you like punch in your passcode or whatever to have the ship open up and go in, what you notice is that of course you have to walk past Kuka, who's curled up into a ball in her little like life pod area that she sleeps. Kuka.
There's a cat curled up next to her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Kuka, I imagine, has one eye open watching you, but you can't see because her goggles on, anyways. So, she knew you were approaching the ship before you even got on the dock. No, so you go walking through the ship and making way to where it is that you have your room. Again, something about the ship seems a little bit off. Now there's like almost like a funny smell to the ship that you didn't smell before. I mean, you're a rather keen person, but I mean,
What's either rotting in the ship or what disgusting alien race is on the ship?
Nothing. Of course, M3, what is it? M3T1M comes out and says, "Oh, how do I do that voice? Oh, hello. Wait, how do I do it?
This is the one that wanted my blood before, and I said no.
The doctor, yeah.
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
first one.
Says,
Okay, gotcha.
"Oh, hello. Oh, I'm trying to remember. No, because that place oh my God. So when you go walking through Kuka's area, I have to take a step back. I just have to remember everything. So you go walking through Kuka's area, the floor, as you get in there is a little sticky.
Oh god.
And you like look down and you're like,
We cleaned it, or they cleaned it.
you're like, I don't see anything there. Like there's no like liquids or anything there, but it's still a little sticky on the floor. Do you like investigate and not give a shit and walk through?
I don't want to be near Kuka longer than I have to.
Wow.
So it's one of those things that you walk through the rest of the ship, your feet kind of, because it still has a little bit of residue from stepping through whatever was sticky, is like making that noise as you walk. But eventually the M3T1M comes out and says, "Oh, hello, Latris."
Evening. I try and walk by him to get back to my room.
No questions then. Good. And he goes back into the
Wait a minute, medical droid.
He turns back, looks at you, presses the button.
Oh god, what's in my room? I brace myself heading to my room, ready to see something in there that I don't want. Do I see anything?
You go over there, you open the door. My apologies.
Yeah, I open my door, but like ready to
The
close it
crew
instantly.
quarters door?
Wherever I sleep.
I'm assuming it's the crew quarters, because that's the only other place to sleep.
No. He actually spends it in the like meeting room.
Oh, okay. You're in the conference room.
Gotcha.
Yep, he actually like has pretty much owns that room, which I think is hilarious. So
I don't know. That's where she holds all her meetings, so.
So you are just trying to make sure I get this right. So when you go into that room, you look about, nothing seems off whatsoever. You actually like don't believe it at first, make your rounds and look, and everything actually seems genuinely fine. You still feel a bit off, but you shut your door, and eventually the night passes on, and you wake up the next day.
Great.
The next day when you wake up, and you finally leave your room, the whole crew is together finally, and everybody's going about their
Sure.
business, whatever. You go walking out of your room to meet with, you have, what's her name? Eris is actually giving orders to Bezwi to start plotting to get off of the docks because like you guys have stuck here. Latris obviously had done the things. It's like we're not leaving quite just yet, but start like planning things out, making sure we're good to go for takeoff for later on today. Get all the paperwork done for it because after Latris and I are finally caught up, we can get out of here. Besides, the repairs to the ship are going to be done anyways. So you see her doing that. You see M3, M1, T1M is following after Urath, saying, "No, please, I would like to take another sample from you. No, please, I would like to take another sample from you. Why do you continue to walk away from me?"
You've had enough samples.
"But I don't believe I have."
Just gonna keep walking.
He goes into his own room and it's like M3, M1, T1M turns back and says, "I really do not like that species. I think they should have been made extinct." And then walks back into the thing. And then what ends up walking out of the crew's quarters, holding a bowl and eating what seemingly is cereal with like milk dripping off the spoon and kind of like rolling down their chin and whatnot, is an old man wearing no pants, has one slipper on, and he's walking out. And his shirt is not very long, and you know his undergarments are old and holy. And he's walking out. He's like eating this like cereal dripping down the spoon in his chin. He's like watching everything that's happening. Oh,
Did I like when I see him, I kind of like speak up, maybe like getting Eris's attention, like, did we find the original captain of the ship then?
you said it to him?
No, to her.
Okay.
She says no, and she like looks. She sees where your eyes wander, and your eyes wander. Are your eyes wandering at the old man with no pants?
Yep.
And her grin gets even bigger.
Do I want to know?
Do you?
He's watching like it's a soap opera.
Do I need
Yeah.
to know? Let me put it that way.
You say, do I need to know?
Yeah, do I need to know?
I look over at him and I just keep smiling as he's eating. And then I look back at Latris. I'll leave that to you.
You're the captain, so if you're saying I don't need to know, then your word is law. I'll leave it as is.
She has like a thoughtful look on her face and then leans back.
Prepping to leave then.
How was the gala?
Eventful. A lot of old friends, a lot of new ones. A lot of information. Specifically information that you would find useful. May I? And I kind of gesture away from old man Magoo and
She stands up. She's like 6'8", so
yeah.
She stands up and she looks over at old Crazy Fury and she's like, "Do you think you guys will be completed today?"
We're done.
Perfect. I turn back to Latris and I say, "Sure, let us go. Excuse us." I say to the Bastion, to Bastion, and we walk over to the captain's quarters where I open the door and we walk in.
Sure.
I close it.
I'll follow in behind you and yeah, the door closes.
Just the two of you, nobody else invited? It's perfectly fine, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely not old man, that's for sure.
If no one else is around, then that's.
I mean, Kuka's always the kind of at your heel. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can.
If Kuka follows, I will let her join. It's up to her.
And
Yeah, she would
Urath
be
is, of
there.
course, there as well. So
Yep,
Urath
that's
is
fine.
about. So it's up to you guys if you care to be in the room for the conversation.
All Latris does is pull out his data pad and kind of place it gently on your desk and have it turned to face you. And he'll just kind of motion like, "That there is a list of brothels." And he says that with a grin.
It's several hundred, by the way.
She looks through it and takes like a moment where she's like reading them. Are there any funny names on some of them?
Funny names in the brothals? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. She just starts.
Definitely
Some of them
not
are plays on
She
words.
sifts through them and she just names off like some of them that are really funny and then kind of cackles with like an evil laughter type of thing that happens. And then she looks over and she's like, "And why would I want a list of brothels?"
Well, I just wanted to make sure you didn't want their base functions before I went into their more detailed ones. a few of those brothels, and he'll kind of like,
Their services?
yes.
Do you want their services?
No, but you may want the other things that they offer. An old senator friend.
And I hand the data pad to Kudo look at.
Puka,
See if
some
we
of
can
those
find
names-
another tiny at one of those.
A few of those brothels offer behind-the-scenes services, specifically ones that offer ship parts and maintenance that you can't find elsewhere. Ones that could outfit this particular ship and its particular design and age with things that would enhance its performance.
And what would they want in return?
Usually money.
Things like that don't.
Did he say I would need to pay, or would it just be taken care of in return for us staying down here for 48 more hours?
Yeah, in exchange, he gave her all the details about the ship, like dry docks to work on it, places to actually buy parts, all those things. Instead of like, we have to go out of our way and make all these ridiculous checks and check this. It's like, no, you want something, here's details of how to find it.
Gotcha.
So
It's like,
more or less, she can have everything for her ship.
yep, it's like most people want money. It's the convenience of not having to travel planet to planet around the galaxy looking for very specific parts for a very specific ship that is millennia out of date.
And all they want is money in exchange.
This is information from an old senator friend. I have strings here, like
What
I said.
information did you have to give to them in order for them to give you this information?
Nothing
Why
that
would they do this with nothing, no exchange?
nothing that affects you, your mission, or our goal.
I don't like to get myself involved in something that I don't fully understand.
And you don't. You're not part of this whatsoever. You're just reaping the benefits of it.
Reaping the benefits of it makes you part of it.
It only makes you part of it if they come knocking on your door asking for more later, which they absolutely should not be. And if they do, he laughs, they'll rather regret it.
What are you giggling about, Wade?
we're naming brothels.
Chat is amazing right now.
Oh,
Bounty humpers.
Booty hunters.
Bounty humpers.
Bounty
Oh my
humpers, booty hunters. This is great.
Oh no, just keep going up. Like I wish somebody was
Star
like,
Horn.
I wish somebody copy pasting these. This is where I wish we had like a good mod to copy paste all this stuff into.
Boba
Right.
fetish.
Darth Vibrator.
I would make that a command. So
Huts sluts. I'd go
This
there
is weird.
immediately.
Plus,
we really
I
need
like
all these on a
thrusters. It's
database.
so
So we can
simple.
like
Thruster
quotes.
is very simple. Thruster is a good
Yeah,
one.
that's another really good one.
Princess
Oh.
is Lay here. Oh my god, these are great.
moisture
Bounty-
farming. Oh,
Bounty Humpers is my absolute favorite though.
bounty hunting.
Oh,
Okay, I
that's
can see why you guys are. I'm like, I don't know what's going down there, but they have like real funny, geeky looks on their face.
But anyway, he basically is like,
Yeah.
if they ever come knocking for more, they would end up regretting it. But he will also hold up his finger and pull out a data chip out of his pocket and then actually just hand it over to you. It's like, and that is also something we've been hunting for a while, or at least something that I've hinted at I've been looking for.
I take the data chip and I kind of toss it up in the air and then catch it back down. And as I'm doing that, she says, well, it'd be easy for them to come knocking when they know exactly where our ship is.
It's hard to hide a ship like this on Coruscant. Any antique hunter or shopper is going to see this thing or hear about it.
That's why we're not hiding, fortunately.
So what are you worried about?
She tosses back up and catches it. And she says, exactly. I want to make sure whatever you've got going on isn't going to cause us reason to have to hide.
Oh, no. No. Not at all. Everything I do, Eris, and everything I've done since you've met me, everything I continue to do, is always in service of you and your goals. We've had a conversation within the first 2 days of us meeting. Rather tense one, but it was a conversation nonetheless. There is potential in you. More so than I've seen in anyone in my many years around this galaxy. It'd be a waste to put a gun to that head and blow that potential away.
She catches the drive one more time and she looks at you and says, "Hand me your data pad."
He just reaches into his data pad and hands it over.
Shakes his data pad and plugs in
It's
the drive.
it's the same. It's the track that leads to Byblos. I told you I was hunting a
why-
holocron.
She says, "And why you interrupt her?"
Exactly, yeah.
And as soon as you say those words, she's like, "And how did you get this information?"
Years and years and years of work. This isn't where it is. This is just.
She looks over at Kuka, what Kuka's looking at, and Kuka's looking at all of the brothels. Visiting a lot of brothels.
There's one called Gun and Holster. It makes her very happy.
It would be smart.
Kuka like this one.
It would be smart.
I look over to see which one she's talking about.
Which one is it? What's
Gun
the
and
name?
holsters.
Gun and holsters.
Yeah.
Eris like gives a smirk and a little chuckle, and then looks back over at.
Kuka can't read. I don't. There's no reason for her to be looking at this.
He merely smiles like, it would be smart if we were going to pursue this to make sure that we are as well equipped and prepared as possible.
Sorry, I just read one that says
Is there-
load, Yoda wanna load us.
This is too good. I gotta hide
It's
chat.
very distracting.
It is very.
When some of them
Once this conversation is over, right back to
Obi-Wan's
it.
Kenobi's like,
But he says yes. If we were to follow this and continue on, it would be best. It would be in our best interest to make sure this antique is in as top operating order as we can manage. So, I pulled some strings to make sure that if we are going to chase this, we are going to do it with technology that works, and a ship that is. Well, its best day is second to only the day it was created.
Eris kind of taps the like part of the ship and like moves her hands along it and is like, "Perhaps that's your opinion."
I am only here to counsel you, Captain.
She does not like your condescending tone to her. And she takes the drive out and hands you back your data pad. "And who else knows about this?" She goes back to like tossing it up in the air and catching it.
If you want to know someone to take care of and remove them from this particular race, one other senator.
And why did you tell them? Can I tell if you're lying or not?
It would have to be an opposed check.
Yeah, it's diplomacy off of was it skullduggery is lying? Or
Deception? Deception is lying. Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
skill that exists.
So I have to do a skullduggery check.
And yeah,
No,
I have
no,
to
no,
do
no,
it.
This discipline versus
Your
deception.
discipline versus my deception, with no
Okay, so
purples or
you-
anything thrown in.
I just roll.
Yeah, just roll, and whoever has more successes will
Naked
end up
roll.
being winner.
All right. I do not have any successes. so you win.
Hooray!
Which makes sense. I mean,
I mean, as he's practicing, he's a practiced liar.
yeah. I'm not much of a liar. I'm more of a charmer.
What you want to do with the senator is up to you. And I actually give the name of the senator that left the proceedings after hearing a little too much.
You give me like a fake name.
No, she's real.
No, he tells you this is the name. Ready? I'll throw it into chat for you.
Okay.
It's Skyly Barjani. Bam.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that
Skyly-
name before.
Yeah, Skyly Barjani. That's the name I give.
I spelt it differently than you spelled it though.
I spell things really funny.
Yeah, but I mean,
I-
you've talked about that name before.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, I also pronounce things correctly, like genocide and Typhon. So.
Anyway, he's like, she knows. As far as I know, she's still on this planet, and she will be for a while. She's a busy woman. But what you want to do with her, and if you want to remove her or just beat her there, is entirely up to you.
I want eyes on her.
I can give you the address to her offices. I don't know where she lives, though.
I have a better idea.
Oh.
But you want us to stay here?
All I'm offering is a, you've been talking about getting this ship specific upgrades for a while. I'm telling you those upgrades can be found here. And we have access to them now. It's up to you.
Fair enough. We're here. We'll take the upgrades. But I'd like you to spend some time.
With the old naked man? And he says that very bluntly.
She smirks. You can spend as much time as you want with him. But no.
A
I'd like
very
you to-
visible like relief is on Lotris's face when you say no.
I'd prefer that you find someone who can act as a spy for us.
It's rather,
You know people.
It's a rather general and broad request. Someone to hire on the ship as crew?
No.
Someone to spy
Keep an
on
eye
her?
on Skyly.
Fair enough. Easily taken
And
care
report
of.
to us.
I'll put out some
Report to me.
feelers. I'll put out some feelers for somebody that can be trusted here on Coruscant, but everyone here is just as criminal as the underground Coruscant, just a little, they're better about hiding it. I'll do what I can. You have my word.
She nods and she catches the drive once more. And then she looks to the other two. Uthal, did you come in? Or Urath, did you come in here?
I imagine if everyone was gathering, I would have come back in.
Yeah.
Not everyone. It was just
The core four.
Yeah,
Well,
the
yeah.
real people.
Yeah, exactly.
I look over at Urath and Kuka and I say, and do the two of you mind us staying here for a little longer?
Who don't care?
A holocron is a very powerful artifact and hard to turn our nose up to, but I will accept your decision. However, I would ask, I usually look right at Lotris.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know of the history of this particular holocron?
Bits and pieces, very little. It's hard enough getting information nowadays as to where a holocron can even be found. Who it belonged to, who created it, even if it was Jedi or Sith in the first place. That kind of thing is usually only discovered when you access the holocron itself. I will
Well-
say this, though, and you should know, that if I've discovered at least this much as to where the holocron is, there are those out there who are looking harder and with more devastating means also looking for it. Which is why I look back to Eris, suggest going in better armed than we are.
How much would Urath know about holocrons? He would know about Sith holocrons. I don't know if he'd know much about what a Jedi holocron would look like.
How old are you again?
Haha.
1,000? 2,000?
4,000?
4,000.
During the height
4,000?
of the Sith Empire is basically when he was around.
I mean, here's the thing back then, right? Like, the Jedi and the Sith were highly numbered, so you would know what a Jedi holocron would look like. It's a cube, just a
I would know
blue
the difference
cube.
between the two because they were.
Yeah. One's a pyramid, one's a cube.
So whenever you say that you couldn't tell which is which, he would just go.
I just wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able. What he's saying is like I wouldn't be able to get that information without like seeing it because information on holocrons is just so rare.
Gotcha. Not knowing much about the holocron, I would say a holocron is a very, very valuable asset to someone such as yourself.
And we plan to get it.
If you think upgrading our ship should take priority, then I defer to that.
To give us advantage, we'll need a good ship. And a spy on the inside of whoever else we're competing with.
He'll
Agreed.
just nod.
Well, I've got work to get to in my room.
She turns around because she's sitting in like a chair that kind of has like a spin. It can spin. You guys are all standing, but she spins it around. But even though she's like sitting, she's like still almost as tall as some of you because she's like, except for probably Wrath, because she's very tall. She spins the chair around and starts typing something in it. And on all the screens on the ship, there's a timer.
Nice.
Okay.
And so when you guys break apart to go separate ways.
Yeah, and
so
without
forth.
turning around, she says, "Do as you wish."
What's the timer for?
That's how long you have.
Ah.
So we're leaving.
Just wasn't sure if you rigged this thing to explode.
So
With that, she actually turns around and looks at him. And does he look serious?
Yeah, so he always looks serious is the problem, so yes.
And she cackles with like the creepiest laugh ever.
Great.
so the next was something important.
No, I was to say that's when he left.
So
He's like,
next,
"All right."
next
Oh, man.
24 hours or whatever. Mike, is there anybody in particular that you want to tap into to try to find this person? Are you just like using like the dark net to try to find somebody?
I have ulterior motives. I will try and find somebody on the darknet, but I'm also looking to somebody that I can sell information to.
Oh, I
Here's my
understand.
goal. You want me to so the chat understands what my goal is, and like
Mhm.
we don't have to role
No,
play it.
no. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Here's his goal. Obviously, find somebody to spy on Skyly and bring the information to her. Doctor that information if I need to, but unlikely. She just might be not doing anything. Here's the other thing. I want to find somebody that I can trust on the darknet. Sell the information about all the senators that I got under a timer. 1 year from the date that I sell it, all of this information is released to the public.
So,
Find
First-
like somebody who's trying to like revolt.
Yeah, basically find somebody that I'm like, here's the deal. Here's what happens if you
Anarchy.
break the deal. But 1 year from this day, 1 Coruscant year, that information goes public. And you can do with what you want with the fallout. Like, I don't give a fuck what happens to the senators after. But this is basically my dead man switch of like, if they get, in Lotris's mind, my dead man switch is if they get to this holocron before we do, and they able to obtain this holocron before we do, ruin their careers and their lives, pick off the scraps once we're done.
I get what you're saying. So, two things that come to mind then. So, one of them is obviously going to be like if you were to choose like some sort of freedom fighter organization.
Yeah.
That was,
The rebellion, whatever.
There are tons of rebellions that existed in
Yeah.
the Star Wars universe during the
course.
time of like the Empire. Just not all of them had the same cause, or all of them worked together. or
I'll give it to the resistance.
So like you can give it to the resistance, or another name actually comes to mind as well. So kind of like thinking about it when you spend your moments in the room, not wanting to ever eat cereal again. You think
That's for sure.
you actually did have a good conversation with Satori, the Kiminoan.
Oh, the one that said no. Fucking genius. That's something that I should have thought of. That would have been incredibly smart. Yes, that's exactly who I would go to without question. And I'm mad I didn't think of that because that fits exactly with what I would do.
So I imagine your character spends a few hours in there,
Pacing, going through names.
searching things, so on and so forth. And then he probably is just like, I don't know, I just need like a nap or something like that. And he closes his eyes and probably hears like a strange water noise coming from outside of his door. But that noise was, prefaced with a barefoot and a slipper against the metal sound. So it just kind of like annoys him. And he's like, ugh, this person's so annoying and old. And then the water noise gets to him, and he just kind of remembers water. Oh my God, they're kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Like
Water planet, yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Water planet kind of comes to him.
Yep.
And so you reach out to her almost immediately. Send your pinging contact.
Mhm.
You have to try to get her attention. So you're actually going to roll. And it's pretty easy to do this. It's going to be an average check. It's going to be a persuasion or whatever it's called.
I know of the thing I would say to her if you want to let me just pitch you what I would just say.
Go ahead.
All I would say is, what do you know of Jago's missing wife?
You go. Why do you say? Why do you
Jago? That's not Jago?
Jaco?
Jaco, not Jago. Sorry. Jaco's
Yeah,
missing
tack
wife.
off.
Jack off. What do you know of Jaco's missing wife? That's what I would say. But if you want me to roll anyway, I will. That's the words I would use.
Is that-
Jaco's my bae?
That's so good. Jaco's my bae.
Jaco's my bae.
I don't want him to be my bae.
I don't either. He's gross.
He's so snaky.
He's
I
such a
didn't name him
dick.
that. That's not my doing.
That's pretty funny. I never would have ever. That's amazing.
All right.
Thank you for once again enhancing our lives. So, anyways, so the
Oh, he gave you a compliment, Wade.
All right. Yeah.
That's better than a level up. I'll take it.
so that should be the name of a brothel. Jaco's missing wife. So
Oh, I thought it was gonna be. It's better than a level up.
so
A D&D brothel.
moving on. She responds with a location
Cool.
for the two of you. To meet.
Perfect.
You of course do like a quick, Koro search. That's Coruscant search of the location to find out where it is, and you can actually find out that it happens to be a very large park at the top of a huge high rise. So there are many, towers everywhere.
Yeah.
Coruscants, but this is a very broad building, and the entire roof of it happens to be a massive park about the size of like Central Park in NYC.
Okay.
So you make your way there. You actually have to kind of rush out the door. You don't really have time to spend prettying yourself up like you did last time. But it's not like you're usually a schlub anyways. So you have to kind of rush out the door to make it for the meeting.
It's just Jaco.
No, it's not. You have to
Oh.
rush out the door to make it for the meeting, and you grab hold of Brigby, and you make your way all the way over there. And so when you finally get to the location, you're a few minutes late for the time that you want it to be there for, but she did give you very short.
Yeah. If she's mad about it, then she can fucking shove it up her long neck.
She's not. So when you come walking in, as soon as she's sitting on a bench, and as soon as you're walking over, whether if you wave or say something, or
I'll just
or
go sit next to her.
approach,
Mhm.
yeah, or what I was gonna say, whether you silently approach,
Yep.
she actually seeing you coming and noticing you coming, she stands up.
Okay.
And she turns her back to you, and immediately starts walking.
I was gonna say I had to
towards
start catching up and walk in stride.
Okay.
We'll make this
you.
work.
Do you open?
Yeah. So you appreciated my message then?
You are certainly an interesting man.
I just play the same game you play. I just don't get paid for it. So, you wanted something. I have something. I have 3 separate things on 3
I have a
separate
feeling that you
senators.
had a meeting.
No.
And
And you
have
were
the-
invited, strangely.
Hmm.
Play my game, and I'll give you the rules. I will give you all the dirt I collected on those senators under
I'm
the.
not going to tell you my secrets.
I don't want your secrets. I just want your help.
She actually will turn her quick crane neck to look at you full on, and she has an appreciative look.
You are not, though I'm sure it would be helpful. You're no longer part of the plan against Rebecca. You're my dead man's switch. Simply put, the information I'm going to give you is every horrible thing those 3 senators did. My request is that, and you can use this information as you see fit, that information get released somehow, weird leak in the inside of the system to the public 1 year from the day you get it. That could be today, that could be tomorrow. But their careers and everything they've done wrong will be aired out to dry.
Gives me more than enough time to garner favor and set other plans in motion.
You should have more than you need on this. And I kind of hold the data chip out. I just want to see them fall in a year from now. All 3. And you can reap the rewards from their tumble.
What's the request?
You heard it. I want that information public 1 year from now.
That's your only request.
I have things to gain if they fall.
She holds her fingers out, and her very long fingers out, almost touching it, and then she pulls them back, and her hand rests by her side again and says, "So I'm just supposed to be your pawn then? You don't want anything in return aside from putting your plans into motion for you so you can benefit the way that you see fit?
You're more like a bishop or a knight.
I'm going to benefit as well. Don't you mistake
know.
my plans, but this is all you need of me."
If you are feeling generous, if you can offer help against Rebecca, you're welcome to. But all I'm asking is that this information is given to the public in a year.
I'm never feeling generous.
Didn't think so.
but I am feeling intrigued. She reaches out and takes the chip.
I just gingerly let it go.
Um,
Enjoy what you find on there.
I have a feeling I will. Well then,
He like hesitates for a minute. He turns to go, but then he like pauses. He's like,
there was something else then.
I just need somebody to keep eyes on. What the hell is it? Skyly.
Skyla White, I think it's Walter's wife.
Skyly, Bajarni. Senator Bajarni. The information you'll gather is probably going to be negligible, but that's fine. I'm just following the orders of a captain.
Do you want them to report back to you directly?
She did say her, so the captain of my ship, Aris Vula.
I know of 3 brothers. They have worked for me in the past. They do a good job.
If that's something you can afford to let me borrow for 48 hours, then I would appreciate it.
Would you like a face-to-face?
No, I trust you.
Would your captain like a face-to-face with them first?
I'd say that'd go over well.
She doesn't say captain. She says you are whoever you're referring to because you didn't say captain. And she doesn't have that info.
That's fine.
There's only one, just to be clear, as far as you understood, only one person had that info.
Gotcha. That's fine. That'd be good. Her again, Aris Vula, and I'll give you the dock port. I'll give her the dock port number that our ship is on right now.
Well, this was not the meeting that I was expecting, but certainly one that I appreciate.
And honestly, neither was I. But I'm glad we could find a place for you in this game.
I will see you.
Probably never.
online.
And he smiles. I'm eager to see the Coruscant headlines in a year. Best of luck. And he'll turn to walk off.
She doesn't see you off or do anything
I
like
didn't
that.
think
Like
so.
as you turn to walk off, she was currently regarding a flower, very gingerly, like stroking one of the petals and whatnot on it. And like as you're walking off, she bends down to sniff it, with like practice, like art to it.
Practiced elegance. I understand.
So many hours pass.
Yeah, sure.
Early the sorry, because it was the way the timers work. Many hours pass, and then like midday the next day, because you guys are locked there until the next day. So midday the next day, and I imagine you guys have your interactions on the ship or whatever you got to do, and Eris being like,
Well,
"Are
I
you
mean,
working on it? No, taking
We
care.
might have things that we need to do.
If you care to, please. Otherwise,
Well, yeah, I'd like to get those ship upgrades.
oh, if you have a list for me, feel free to toss it my way, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you the cost.
The cost, and I'm assuming it'll be taken care
And
of.
just throw that list inside Zoom chat, and I'll kind of like work through it, just to kind of keep it quick. And I'll work through it as we talk about other things. So, Doxy or Wade, anything?
No.
Puka never has anything to do besides look after her cat and follow Eris blindly.
Urath will occasionally sneakily pet the cat when no one's looking, and that's it.
Oh. Can we
Yes.
roll to see if we see him petting the cat?
I don't want to see because he'll just kill me.
Oh, I sent that to Mathis for some reason. I sent you to the list instead of having.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I was like, wait, that's weird.
If you want to oppose my stealthy petting of the cat,
Oh, yeah,
then you
yeah, I
gotta beat that.
You are very stealthy.
Damn, you stealthy boy. I guess I'm really stealthy too. We're both stealthers.
I'm pretty stealthy too, but there's no way that Kuka would miss it because whenever she's on the ship, the cat's just with her.
Oh, actually, I'm not stealthy. I lie. Completely lie.
He would wait till he thought like Kuka was sleeping or the cat was just wandering around. He'd be like,
Looking for my
"Go
perception.
on."
Look at there. Perception. Ooh, yeah. I see you lean down, but not to pet the cat.
Yeah, I come back up. I'm like, oh, a rock. Wonder how this got down there. I just have a coin I repeatedly drop. Oh, I gotta pick that up. Pat.
Nice.
Hilarious. All right, so like I said, about midday the next day. So we're talking. There is at this point in time less than 6 hours before when you can finally take off.
There's a counter.
Of course, It's like 5:58 and 53 seconds, 5:58 and 52, and so there is a like ping at the door, like more or less like a display pops up where it doesn't matter where you are on the ship because you don't have to be over in the cockpit, Maggie, because all of a sudden the central area, the hollow area that is usually used for like battle maps and stuff like that, has like a hollow display pop up to show who is outside the door and kind of like pinging, much like a home security system, right?
Did
And you
Lotris
actually,
say that these people were going to be joining?
No, you just sent me out to find spies to report back to you. So that's what
Yeah.
they are. They're just reporting back.
Okay.
so you see these three people standing outside the door. I mean, the details of like hollow displays aren't like super 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 nice.
Yeah.
So it's a little grainy, but you just see this three male humans standing outside the door.
I look down at Kuka, who I'm sure is next to me, and I say, "It appears we have visitors. Maybe Lotris finished some of his work." And I start walking towards the door. And if I see Urath picking up another coin, oh, and this is where I see Urath
Picking up a
be
coin.
like, "Oh, I'm picking up a coin." Urath, would you accompany us?
Of course.
And I
Kuka
walk.
does a Kuka smile, which is basically just her mouth wide open, and like you just hear her like little flat feet pat 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 behind you.
Oh, it's adorable.
She's real cute, dude, for a murder dog.
Yeah. So I walk in front of them with Kuka to my right and Urath to my left, and we walk to the front of the door, and I open it.
Okay, so you go over there and you open the door, as you just said. And when it opens up, you see that there are three men standing before you. As I already said, there are all male humans that are standing there, all of them dressed very, very, very differently. One of them is clearly dressed to be like a very poor, like a pauper. One of them is actually dressed like a clear businessman, dressed in a very fine business suit. And the other one is actually dressed like a guard, like somebody that you would see working for Coruscant itself, like armed military. And they all standing there looking up at you. As I guess the door opens up, they look up at you. And the one that seems to be the businessman calls up and says, "Hello, I'm looking for a Lotris."
He's not here, right?
Yeah,
Well-
I told them not to report to him. So
Oh, no. Well, did you give Aris's name? I'm sorry.
yes, I did. I gave Aris.
Oh, I
his name.
apologize. I'm looking for an Aris Avula.
That'd be me.
Oh, good. Then let's get to the details of our dealings. And he says, starting to walk up the boarding area, and the
She
other two follow
motions
behind him.
for them to walk up.
As they walk up and you take in their features, you realize that all three of them look exactly the same. They're clearly triplets, identical brothers. So they come walking up onto the into the ship, and as they look about the front area, he says, "Here or somewhere more comfortable?"
We'll head to the conference room. She looks down at Kuka and she like nods at her to kind of guide them to the conference room. And I
Kuka makes
motion.
a real show of making sure they can see her gun.
Yeah, and then
From
I'm
there.
kind of motion to Urath to come back, like stay with me.
The only one that seems armed is the one that's dressed like the military, like the Coruscant guard. You know what I mean? But they walk with you to go to, and everybody that you direct does so, and they go with you to the conference room. I imagine Lotris is sitting inside there reading one of his old books, slowly making his way through it, savoring every word as his eyes fall upon them.
Kuka and the three gentlemen will arrive before Eris and Urath.
Lodge seeing this will pop up and actually be like, "You need your privacy for these business matters. I'm not needed here," and he'll actually just leave.
Okay. He leaves. He goes into the actual crew's quarters.
Mhm.
He's the guy has one leg up in the air, like on the wall, and the other one's kind of like draped off.
This
the
is
side
old
of-
man.
Yep.
He just when I see him, I'm like, I just like hold my book and I'm just like, "Who are you?"
Oh, hey.
Are you crew?
No.
Then get off the ship.
What? No. I'm Fury.
Are you part of the ship's crew?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I'm the engineer. What do you do?
Did I get offered a better engineer? I can't remember.
Nope.
from somebody else.
You were told that a better engineer was directed your way.
Oh, unfortunate. And I leave and I go somewhere else.
You say unfortunate and you leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, someone's gonna stick up their ass.
At least you can't see mine.
You say that?
Yeah.
He's like, what? Oh, I'm not wearing pants.
Oh fuck! I don't ever want to see this man again.
As you
Kuko would look around to the triplets and be like, "Man's am sit," and like point to the chairs.
they all
Hello, Kuka.
they all go and sit. So one of them goes and so the businessman goes and grabs the end seat and sits there and gets himself all like and gets a data pad out and stuff like that. The one that's dressed like a pauper, he goes and kind of like slumps into a chair, not even pulling it out or anything like that for himself. And the one that looks like a guard actually does not stick a seat, goes to the far side of the room and leans against the wall.
Okay, Kuko takes her gun and pokes the one that sat in the end seat and goes, "Man's am air his seat. Man's am air his seat. Man's am move."
He looks down at you like, and he gives you this condescending look, like you're just some childish annoyance, and with a very large eye roll, he pushes the chair back ever so slowly, stands up even slower than that, moves over a seat, and then sits back down.
Good man's. Good man's.
The one leaning against the wall pulls out his heavy blaster rifle and starts like fiddling with it, like he's working with calibrations, cleaning it, so on and so forth, waiting for Eris to arrive.
Kuka totally mocks him with gun. Just does the exact same shit that he's doing. Like puts her feet up on the table and like is like looks over at him what he's doing, does the exact same thing to gun. Yeah.
Like literally as Eris is walking in the door, so it's going to get interrupted, and we'll have Maggie take over in a second. He walks over to you, he's like, actually, that model, is that a... And then the door opens up, and he immediately shuts up and takes the 2 steps back and leans back against the wall.
I want to have a conversation with Urath if I can. Before
That's why you were late, so you can go ahead.
Okay. I thought you were moving forward to when we got to the door.
Nope, go ahead.
I don't know how this meeting will go, but if I need your assistance taking care of them, are you willing?
I won't hesitate.
She grins and continues to walk forward.
With the little one and myself, they won't pose much of a threat. You won't even need to think about getting your hands dirty.
She smiles and stops right before they reach like the area where Kuka normally sleeps.
Mm-hmm.
She's like looking around in Kuka's room and looks back at Urath. What do you think about what Latra said?
I wonder how much we should trust Lotris to begin with. He does not
Why?
seem too fond of much that we have here.
And why do you say that?
Well, your interactions are loud and unpleasant, which isn't uncommon for the Sith, but compared to how the rest of the crew seem to respect and interact with you, he seems indignant. He seems to withhold things, and he seems to have his own agenda.
Don't we all?
No, this is true. I would just watch him with a closer eye.
Perhaps you can.
I will do what I can, though I think the little one might be a little bit better about hiding in the shadows than I. However, I'm not sure how much should understand everything that he would be dealing with.
She stays with me.
I can understand and respect that too.
She turns back around and nods, and one of her Leku like motion at you as like a thank you, and she continues moving forward back to the into the conference room.
Russ just follows behind silently, close enough to where it's like obvious that he's there to protect, but not annoyingly.
So you guys, like you said, as you go walking in, so the door opens up. You see somebody who is clearly like approaching on because you could like take in the room as soon as you go in there. You see one that was approaching to Kuka, immediately starts backing off and leans against the wall, waiting for you. One's
The
gonna
one messing with his gun.
Yeah, the one that was messing with his gun, he stopped as he approached. But there's the one that's slumped in the chair. He's one of those because the way he's like slumped in the arms of the chair, he like leans up and looks between his legs towards the door to see you coming. And then there's the businessman who's sitting there with straight backed, his like about 4 inches forward in the seat, so his back's not even touching the chair, still like a board straight backed, and doesn't even look over to meet you until after both of you walk in, the door shuts, and then he'll make eye contact. But please, the scene is yours.
Okay. Yeah. Once I walk in, I close the door. I kind of once over look at everybody, and you kind of describe to me what everyone looks like. And I go to take my seat. But before I do, I kind of stand at the edge of the table with her fingertips are like on the table, and she kind of looks around to everybody and leans forward and says, "Good evening, gentlemen."
The businessman responds saying, "Good evening to you as well, Eris." And the gentleman leaning against the wall says, "Good day, ma'am." And the one lying down grunts.
I imagine Urath wouldn't be sitting. He'd be standing at the door, just probably. If the other guy has his gun drawn, Urath.
No, he actually he actually put it back because he stepped up to talk to her. Eris came in. He put the gun back.
I would probably stay as ready as he is. So if he's, I would never lean back. I would always just be standing firm.
Okay.
What do you know?
Eris, I believe that you are hiring me. May I speak at leisure in front of the rest of the crew here?
Yes.
Okay. Then I would like to. I was informed that you were looking for people to keep an eye on a certain senator, someone to keep an eye on, someone that you think might have information for you.
Not just an eye. I want you to become part of their crew.
He opens up. He like presses a button on his data pad. It automatically unencrypts for him. He pulls open a file. Immediately starts like hammering away some basic things and whatnot. Looks after a couple of seconds. Looks over to the one that's kind of like slouched in the chair and says, "What is it? Petron, sit up. Get your data pad." And so he's like, ugh. He sits up, grabs his data pad, unlocks it.
Is this the one that was shit talking Kuka?
This is the home with the popper.
Like showing shade, like throwing shade at Kuka.
Yeah, he's the one that like slouched in the chair and stuff like that.
All right. She would do the wide open mouth smile thing again and just kind of.
Oh, sorry, no, the one that gave you. Sorry, my apologies. The one that gave you attitude was the
That's
business.
the guard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, never
Business.
mind.
So no, my apologies. So he sits up, he pulls out a data pad. This thing is old and busted. Like, you know that friend that has an iPhone and you're just like, how does that thing function? It's like one of those. And as he gets it unlocked, he does like a swipe and the information goes over to it. It's like sends the information over to it. And he looks at it and says, and then like nods to the other one who already has his data pad out, starts taking it out immediately, does the same thing. He starts looking over the information, says, "My apologies, continue."
Can I see what they're doing at all?
Roll me a perception check. You're going to take if you want to be subtle with it. So do you want to be subtle or no?
I'm not being subtle.
Then it's only one purple die.
I'm not very good at it, so we'll see how it goes. Oh.
Okay. So, yep, you can actually see he immediately put together a list of potential positions that they could be in her service, names of people that currently hold those positions as it stands right now, and all the equipment and whatnot that they would need to buy to appropriately fit those roles.
Air smiles, and then looks to all of them, kind of, keeping presence in the room and like looking around to all of them as she continues on. And as part of that crew, gain their trust. Do your job. And if they move anywhere, report back.
He nods. He takes all that information. At this point in time, he actually pulls out a small device. It's not a jammer like Mike had beforehand. It's actually a much larger, different kind of tech one than that. You can see the one that Mike had grabbed because it belonged to a senator was really nice, especially the kind of person that was. This is a lower quality one, but still the same idea. He presses the button, the jammer kicks on. I imagine this actually does a little bit of disturbance to Kuka because Kuka has like all of her equipment on her. So it takes like a moment of jarring and then she's good again. As it
You
interferes
just
with
see
her
her
equipment.
like shaking her head.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly.
So then he says, I understand that while I'm in the service to you and reporting directly back to you and not to report the information back to somebody else, to anybody else, that I am going to be receiving my payments through channels that I'm familiar with. However, if there is to be any other, if there was any gratuitous tasks that you would like taken that would require a little extra payment.
Those are all the tasks I need.
So you say now, but we have to understand the boundaries of our contract.
Understandable.
Do you care to know anything else at all?
How much do you want?
Oh, we're already being paid.
Perfect.
But if there's anything else that you need, then we'll talk.
What else are you offering? Everyone's always in need of something. Can never have enough, can you? And she finally sits down in the chair and leans back.
He says, completely, like, seemingly unperturbed by your approach and everything. He says, I'm being paid to watch, to gather all the information that I can about her, and to report it back to you directly and nobody else. That's what I'm being paid for. If there's anything else that you'd like, that's where you and I have to have different conversations. And for those conversations, he'll actually reach down and he pulls out a comm and he hands it over to you. It's a specialized type of comm. It's not like a typical, like it actually looks rather unique. He says, this is encrypted. It is a two-way connection. It goes to me directly and nobody else.
She grabs it, tosses it in the air, catches it again, and looks down at it and she says, handy.
Now, mind you, you can tell that's clearly a comm like vocal. It's not a holocom. Okay.
Okay.
So he like kind of swipes away a couple of things on his data pad and says, then have we concluded this meeting?
I suppose so. Unless there's something that you need from me.
He shakes his head and says, it's not a practice of mine to make requests of those that employ me. And so he pushes his chair back, stands up, and like approaches your chair.
She smiles. She likes the way that this guy does business. Stands up and looks at him as he's coming towards her, I guess.
He'll extend his hand to shake yours.
She offers hers.
Yep. He, does like a nice, firm business shake without being obnoxiously tight or anything like that, and says, looking forward to hearing from you. And then he starts to walk out the door. Door opens up. The one that was starting to really slouch back in the chair again, like pulls himself out of the chair like it's the most difficult thing. With two fingers.
As she sees that, she will kind of like walk around the table quite opposite to him, and she's like, those chairs are comfy, aren't they?
He goes, and like continues to walk out of the room without paying you much more of a mind. He's holding his data pad between like his index and middle finger. It's one of those like he's probably going to drop it again. And unless you say or do anything else, he leaves the room as well.
No.
The soldier's the last one to leave because he pushes himself off that wall where he's opposite and makes his way across the room. He does toss another glance, like another curious glance down at Kuka's gun, as he walks by because it is a really good model, and makes his way over to where you're standing. And he stands before you and says, pardon me, but we're going to need a way of referring to you without using your name.
Would you like to call me?
Ma'am.
Ma'am, it is then.
Nods, and he walks out. His walk never slows, but he definitely sizes up Urath.
I don't even think Wrath looks at him. He just like stares in the same direction, unless
Wow.
they make like an aggressive movement.
So then Eris notices that, and notices that Urath just does not give a shit. And so he leaves the room unless anybody does anything. He leaves the room as well.
Yeah, as he leaves, Eris is leaving, and she looks over at Urath as she's walking out the door. Maybe he was into you. And she walks out the door following them to let them out.
Yep.
He'll break like his stoic, like just pissed off, guarding face, just like for a little chuckle.
The businessman.
Kuka opens her mouth really wide. Loves it.
Wade's always getting into the relationships in our
know.
games.
I never try. They just
I
find
was looking him up, so I was like, maybe he's into you. I don't know.
That's true. He's looking me up, not down.
The businessman stops in the middle of that main
He
chamber.
started
there.
down there first.
And he started at your toes. You know, it's a thing. So he's at that main chamber there, and he's like stops to like take in the whole room, and he just
Oh, gotcha. In our like holo terminal area,
Mhm.
the main hold. Gotcha.
Yep, and he lets out like a damn.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
He looks back to you and says, I don't like to comment on the various physical qualities of those that employ me. And turns to continue walking out of the ship.
As he does that, she looks around and doesn't look towards him, but says, "You already did."
And they leave the ship without saying or doing anything else. This, aside from once again the soldier just making eye contact with you one more time and giving like a typical soldier like nod, and then they walk off the ship together and almost immediately go separate ways. You see them like walk away. They say a couple of words and then just split up.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I just watch them as they like leave the area.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's like gritty and fuzzy.
And I'll just say, well, at least 2 out of the 3 seemed competent.
It's always the ones that appear incompetent that are the most competent.
Or at least the most dangerous.
Often.
He would just
The clock-
walk at that.
The clock ticks, the timer comes to an end, and the requests are already put in long beforehand. Literally, as soon as that timer hits 0 nanosecond, Bezwi has the ship in the air. Like, it's like already in the air, and is making its ascent off the planet. Bezwi's not an idiot. He doesn't push the...
As we've seen me shoot people, right?
No, Bezwi's not an idiot. He's actually extremely respectful at all points in time. It's one of his traits. He's always respectful to Eris and always respectful to the engineer and doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. Unfortunately, his life comforts have changed. And now he has to deal with Fury. So there's that. And
Old crazy Fury.
he leaves the planet without ripping out of the atmosphere. It's not like he's going out like ripping through there or anything ridiculous like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, where is it that you guys were planning on going next? And please, Latris, Eris, everybody, where was the intention to go next?
I know that
Did you want to pursue the information on that data pad, Maggie? On that data chip?
hold on, I have a thing with where I need to go next. I need to get Susil.
Correct.
So that's currently what I'm doing at the moment.
Correct.
What is that? Who is that?
Susil is one of the guys that we were, well, now we need to go get him.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, did you have any leads at the moment?
I know we did, and that's how we ended up at where we are right now. Because he works for Trebin.
Yep. I'm trying. No, he works for. Let me make sure. You may have said the right one. I just want to confirm.
Trebin Dinakri or whatever his name.
Trebrin. Democracy.
Trabrin. There we go. I'm just saying it wrong.
Yep, nope, nope. You're right. You are correct with the correct person. So, my apologies. Let me think of your lead for a second.
And she offered 15,000 extra credits if we can, if he has the info. So basically, I think what we're looking for is, I think Lotris actually got the information.
I'm trying to. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to remember for a second. Let me parsing through my notes and my information for myself. So you were,
Yeah, we just need to find Susil. So that was currently where we were at.
yep. And you also landed there because you wanted to get rid of Rebecca, and so that's kind of like something that you and Lotris talked about. And so Lotris went and had those meetings to try to find people that didn't.
Well, we landed there specifically because we were getting payment because we got the shipment and then we brought the shipment to her and I brought it literally to her door because I wanted to ensure that she got it from me.
Mhm.
And then she offered me this other job to get Susil, who I already kind of had some information about, but we didn't know where he was at last, I don't think, other than if he was at at that planet that we were at before. So
I'm so sorry. This sounds really bad, but I knew exactly. Say, I thought I knew where we were going next, but I didn't think of Susil at the exact moment. So, am I missing a link here? My brain is missing a link.
I know we're going back to the planet that we found him in, which was on like episode 2 of this show. But I didn't write the town down. It was where the museum was.
Lorinar is the name of the planet.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, Lorinar, because it was Lorinar Museum of History. Right.
correct. So that's right. You're heading to Lorinar. That is right. So you're heading
We
to Lorinar.
came from there before, like 3 episodes or 4 episodes ago.
Oh.
3 episodes ago.
Correct. Because you were there because this show's only so many episodes in. So that is where you had found the weapons and whatnot. So you're going there to try to find connection to where it is that he might be next, I believe. So,
Mhm.
no, you went there. You found the connection to here. Why can't I find this shit? I had everything.
Yeah,
So I'll
so
find out.
we were on a planet. We were on Lorinar, and that's where we met Lotris. And
Why
that's where...
don't we take a 5-minute break and then we come back? I'll be ready to go.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
sounds good. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys.
It's really bad.
We'll figure it out. Figure it out.
You're the GM, man.
Welcome back, everybody.
I remember my missing connection. It was something I forgot to do forever ago. There we go. I remember where he was. I just had to find where the hell he was. It was a little cliff note. I was like, oh crap, I forgot about that. So this is actually all the way back to Latras when you were in that nice establishment that I described as being, yeah, this isn't the nicest place in Coruscant, but a very fine one, right?
Sure.
As you were leaving that place, you were the second to last person to leave. Only person leaving after you was Ugun's code, right? So when you finally left, as you were making way back out of the facility, the two guards that had taken your stuff from you actually ended up giving you your data pad and communicator back. And as you're making way out of the place, you're thinking to yourself, you've been very successful, you're happy with yourself. And then you look across the bar area, sorry, the restaurant area you are, over where the bar is. And you actually see that Jaco, Smibe, God, I can't get that out of my head now. I'm gonna have to change that last name.
Jacob's my bae.
So, anyways, Jaco is actually across the bar. He sees you as you're walking by, and he does that one of those locks eyes with you for a couple of seconds as he goes, and then goes back to talking to the person that he's having a conversation with. He's the kind of person that at the bar turns like fully sideways and like leans on it while having the conversation to the person next to him. And so you honestly never would have caught anything in a million years if it wasn't for the fact that Jaco was it caught your eye and had you looking over there for a long while. And he stared at you for long enough. The person next to him turns to look at you as well. And that's when you notice him. That's when you notice the Syrian man. Syrian man.
Oh, okay.
That looks very familiar to you. Roll for me. This is a memory check. So I don't know how memory works in this game.
It's your best stat automatically.
Yeah. I think it's probably lore or education, right? Would that be memory?
They're both the same roll for me.
Yep. Or discipline, or just it's going to be in personal space.
Discipline.
No, somebody can make a point for discipline for some things, but I imagine.
But discipline is a willpower based thing, not an
Exactly,
intelligence based thing,
intelligence-based thing.
which is what memory would be on my.
So
in my
education, or I would say education.
All right, I can do an education. Gets how much purple?
2 average. Okay, so you succeed easily as soon as you see the man. It takes an extra moment, and then as you blink, you remember seeing, like as your eyes shut while you're blinking, you remember seeing the footage on the screen, and then you're like looking, and even though your eyes are seeing them at the bar, and
That's no bueno.
You notice it in your mind's eye. You're like seeing the video footage of the person speaking to the authorities, reporting the ship from beforehand. Roll me a deception check against 1 purple and 1 red to not get noticed for this. The fact that you came to this realization.
Oh, that's fine. I actually was thinking about approaching him because he was talking to the guy who's working for the other general, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. So the fact that he might be sharing information, I'm just gonna be a dick, and I'm gonna walk up and be like, as we catch eyes, I'm gonna walk over with like a recognize and smile, but I reach into as I approach. Like, Jaco, I'm so glad I caught you. And I look to the gentleman who I recognize but don't recognize. Like, I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt conversation. Just a moment. I reach in my pocket. I take out the comm scrambler. I'm like, just from our conversation earlier, and just place it in a way that the other guy can see it as well, very clearly. And then kind of smile and be like, I apologize for the interruption. Just wanted to make sure you got your property back, and walk away.
And so you do exactly that. And so just to once again button things up correctly, Eris was being her typical pissy self when she dealt with you earlier, and so you were correcting all your RP and everything that you had at the time about like what it was that you had shared with her, and the fact that you like this many hours and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you have this much time, and so you go and you handle all the details and get that taken care of. It's probably because there's a lot of pressure that was happening. There's a lot of stuff that was on your mind. Let's be fair, your character's a little bit older. It's around then that we're going to say that after you spoke with the Kiminoan, that you remember, we have to go in. I have to inform her that I saw Susil.
Okay. Easy enough.
So
I
I'm
will
just
do
kind of
so.
like plugging in as we go because I made
the point of me doing that, by the way, I don't know if it became clear, was to sow distrust.
It did.
Okay, cool.
I got it entirely.
I just think maybe in case chat. And Anyway, yeah, I'll just report that to Eris when I'm on the ship then. That'll be part of the conversation we have. Is
We
like,
haven't
and
played since July, so it's been a while.
yeah. I just saying to Eris like during that maybe quick conversation we had, and be like, and I did have eyes on Susil.
Where?
Brief moment at a bar in this, and I'll just name the building that the bar was at.
Let's pay our friend a visit then, shall we?
He's surrounded by a lot of people, including a senator, so I'd be careful.
Mind you, this next day.
Oh, the
you
next
got
day?
home
Okay.
Super late that night.
Oh,
remember?
my bad. I thought this was okay. Yep.
Yep.
Next day.
But go ahead.
Then I wouldn't have said
You
that.
still
I just
saw.
would've-
You still said I saw him at.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have prefaced it by saying or followed up by saying what I said. I was like,
Okay.
I saw him at this bar at this building. Don't know where he lives, but had a quick glance at him. He was in discussions with another politician.
One who you know who they work for? Every politician is in someone's hand.
True, but this particular politician, I'm not particularly sure. I don't know. Let me just say, I'm not sure if Susil works for him or he's just in communication with Susil. I don't know.
Well, our next mission is to find him,
Well, he's here.
which is nice and very handy. Eris stops the timer that she had going. That's like literally, I don't know, what time is it currently at?
At this point, because you had the meeting and you hadn't met with the other guys yet, so it's like 18 and a half hours, 16 hours, somewhere in there.
Yeah, she stops the timer. Seems we're going to be here a lot longer than I expected. Pity.
So, Lotris just kind of takes a deep breath. It's like, well, there are some sights on Coruscant that I haven't seen in quite some time.
Eris stands up and she goes over to a like closet where there's clothes, and she opens it up and she pulls out a dress. And she's like, "What do you think of this one?"
Lotris is not. Well, no, he knows high end stuff. Is it like just a nice, really nice dress?
I don't know. What does she pull out? I'll pay for whatever dress I have.
I imagine because your skin tone's blue, right?
Yeah.
It's a long, slightly off-white, elegant gown that has, the sleeves aren't on the shoulders, but they still go down to your wrists with a little bit of like design down at the bottom, not ruffle or frill or anything like that. There's like a shimmer or sparkle to it that almost makes you look like a snowflake in like starlight or whatever. The whole thing just shimmers in a way that's almost mesmerizing. Fury walks by as you're holding this out and sniffs it and then keeps walking.
When he does that, and I look back to this, I'm like, do we? Like he looks. Lotris just looks to you, exasperated. He's like, do we need him?
She looks at him. She watches him walk away. His cheek buns moving.
He is
and
dirtying
looks
an
back-
antique.
Dirtying? I did have him clean himself.
Ah, good. The dress, it's beautiful, though. Personal taste, I think black looks better on you, but this dress is quite extravagant. Sure to draw many eyes.
Perfect. Perhaps I'll get a black one some other time.
You have many years ahead of you. Good luck.
What's your problem with Fury?
He's just
Look at
gross.
the pants.
Lodge very simply said he's just gross.
Some people show their grossness on the outside, and others on the inside.
It's better service
He
when
looks
it's
at you like deep in the eyes when she said that.
He smiles like it's more powerful when it comes from the inside, and he equally gesture like kind of stares back at you.
Yeah, we're just staring at each other. And she's
Yeah,
I completely agree.
I think we agree on more than you realize. Good luck, and try not to make too much of a mess. Maybe muzzle your dog.
Uroth walks
She-
by dropping a coin.
She shrugs, and then she looks down at Kuka, who I'm sure is standing
Yeah, I
there.
imagine Kuka's in the room the whole time.
Fucking wide mouth smile. She's just like, she's so excited that she might
She
get
like
to kill somebody.
pats Kuka on the head, and she's like, "Don't worry, He uses his words, but if it comes to actions, I'm sure it wouldn't take very long.
No.
And she pulls out like another outfit, but it's just like, or not, she pulls out something out from the closet and it's just like this sparkly headband for Kuka.
Oh.
She loves it. Puts it on, takes off takes off her head goggles, like the goggles above the goggles that she's wearing on her eyes, puts the headband on over her hood, and is feeling fly. She's feeling fly. And she's like, Kuka am fast. Kuka am fast, one shot.
And Eris is like watching you, and she was just like curious what you would do with the headband, first of all. And then
She should have put it on gun.
and she just smiles and she says, very fast.
Very fast.
And my plan is, I guess, what time is it right now? Or like, what is it evening right now? Because you said it was late, or is it midday now?
This is like early evening.
Early evening. Okay. I guess Eris is gonna go plan some things, and she kind of like just motions for Kuka to like kind of leave her be for the rest of the evening.
Okay. So my apologies. Are you going to go to that location? Is that the plan for when you?
I need to do like some research kind of thing, basically. She's gonna spend some time just trying to figure out like where Susil would be.
Sure. So Mathis and so Lotros knows exactly who it was that
I'll give the name. Yeah.
Speaking with, yeah, and it was the senator by the name of Jaco Smibe.
Jaco's Mabe.
Jacob's Mabe. Jacob's Mabe.
I'm changing the I and the M. It's now Jaco Simbe.
No.
No,
Jaco's Mabe.
Jaco's Mabe.
That just
Ted
sounds
Nugent.
like Kuka is saying Jaco is bae. Straight up. It just does.
Jaco Simbe.
Jaco's Mabe.
And
He can't identity change yet. It's been a day.
Ted Nugent and
I'm gonna go
Jacob's
talk
Mabe.
to Visit and see if or I'm gonna call Visit in with comms and ask him to come to my captain quarters. And I'm gonna be at the PC, like at my computer
Sure.
when I do so.
This is which one? I'm sorry.
Visit
Oh,
Hugh.
yep. He pops in. So he comes in, and you're sitting at the computer. Are you facing towards the door or away from it?
Away from it.
Okay. So he pops in. He leans in the doorway and says, "In or out?"
Come in.
Walks into the door. Takes another step in. The door automatically closes behind him,
Mhm.
and says, "What's up, Cap?"
She actually stands up and kind of turns the chair towards him and motions for him to sit down. And
He sits.
she spins the chair back around and she's like, he can see that she's like looking for this person specifically. She has the name on there that the Jacob's Mabe, and she's like, I want to know everything I can about this person. And if you can find any information about Susil and their whereabouts, well, that'll let us leave this planet faster. Maybe we'll go on a vacation.
He nods and immediately starts to get to work.
Okay.
Before you even finish getting out of your seat, he goes, "Oh, I found him," and pulls up all the public records of Jago Smibe.
Oh God! Is
And
it
he
because
goes,
he?
because he's a senator, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Let's see. He lives here as representative of this planet, and he is okay. Oh, he's been in the office since. Whew, you see how old this bastard is, and he's been in office since he was 32. Look at that. That is 4 lifetimes as a senator." Throws it over there. You really should put term limits on these things, and starts pulling up like all this information about him, where he tends to frequent. Then he goes like through the public information, what's known, like a wiki kind of information that would be there. Then goes into the stuff that you can generally find from like sites that are about him. But then he starts going into like the tabloid-esque information about him, and like just gets all public records and stuff. We're talking like within half an hour, he has like compiled bullet point information of things without even trying to hack a single thing. Just like, here's a full
And what's
blown
his
out.
correlation to Susil?
So he's like looking down it, and he's like, I don't know of anything with Susil, but his being a senator, he could have dealings with all sorts of people. Is there a? Do we know that he met with Susil, or are we guessing?
We know.
Okay, where?
I give him the location.
Hold on a second. About an hour and a half passes, and he comes to you, and he's like, okay, well, I've been trying to get the information of like I've been trying to access the cameras of that location to see like maybe if we can get some decent footage of them together and like that. Unfortunately, it is a really nice location. It's on a closed loop. So the only way we can get that information is if we actually go to the location and hack in from there and slice in from there.
I see. She kind of like motions him to move out of the way, and she opens a folder, types in like a password, and types in something else, and the things on that file all of a sudden become unencrypted, and he can read it, and it's all the information we gathered from the data pad that he hadn't seen before because he wasn't part of our crew, but now he sees it, and it's all the information on Suso that we got previously, who he worked for, all of that stuff. Maybe this will help you.
And this is about Susil, correct?
Yes, this was all the information that we got on him because we had a data pad that was basically all about him.
Okay. So he's once again he's like, I'll get back to it, and starts like doing research on the computer for a little while. And several hours later, so now it's like at nighttime. It's like well into nighttime now. He comes back and he's like, I've been able to do a bit of work trying to get that together for you, Cap. And well, the kind of work that Susil does, he's very much like a go-getter. He's the one that he's very in the field, hands-on. He's the kind of person that you would send to do a task or to manage a situation. Kind of like ground zero kind of person. You know what I mean? Are there others that work under him from time to time if he needs it? Does he know how to command a situation? Sure. We actually have the footage. You actually saw how he handled that situation right there. But everything I've been able to figure out, he's a hands-on person. So you usually don't have a conversation with him unless you're either getting information or giving information. That's my
People
guess.
who are hands-on leave fingerprints.
Sure. And so I can certainly like start making my way around to ask questions and try to do what I can to figure things out. But I'm just meaning like, you think that he's still here?
I know he is. At least.
He pulls out
this earlier today. Or yesterday. It was yesterday that you saw him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mathis? Yeah, okay.
So he pulls out like the records of like all the different places that he's been to. That you've like had record for, like people that he's worked for, and like and the dates that they've worked, and then shows like the time lapses between like one date that was known and another date that was known in a location, another date that was known in a location, and the average travel time between these different locations. And he puts them together, and he's like, it seems like this guy is not exactly one to sit still for very long. I mean, again, I'm more than willing to continue searching, but I don't think he's going to be sitting here for very long. It's very likely that if he came here with the intention of one or a few meetings, did those meetings or is doing those meetings and is either left or is leaving. So he's either dropping off information or picking it up. That'd be my guess.
It's not a terrible guess. She puts her hand on his shoulder and kind of like squeezes it, but not like tightly, just like squeezes it and says, "Thank you, Visit."
Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can try to find any information about which ship he came in on, what port he stayed in, and whether or not that ship is still around. But honestly, this is Coruscant. These ships are, I mean, he could easily know what place to go where nobody's going to ask questions or cameras don't look at him.
She nods and she waits for him to do that.
And he kind of said that with like a finality, like, I'll get on it, but it's going to take me some time. So, is there anything that you care to do in the meanwhile while he's working on that, or
I'll probably talk to Latris then.
okay? So you go up to Lazarus.
Hmm. I go into the conference room and close the door. Um, I have Visit looking for information on Susil, as well as he's able to gather some more information on this Jaco.
Hmm.
I think you might need to talk to him.
To Jaco.
Exactly. My theory is that Susil is here on a job and will probably leave shortly. I'd like to intercept him when he leaves.
He's well, I did see him last night, and you're certain he's still here today.
I'm not. That's what Visit's looking for right now.
Well, I can have words with Jaco, but I will say, while I know the gentleman, it's merely political Senate garbage business. He's not a friendly man, and not one to really share information openly.
Or any Politico.
True enough. I'll offer him some information if I have anything he deems worthwhile. And do you want the whereabouts of Susil?
Yes.
I'll do what I can.
Our mission right now is to find Susil. Take him alive.
Agreed.
I want what information he has.
Oh, fair enough.
And then Rebecca can have him.
Also fair enough.
But I want the information first.
As you should have it first. Well, if we're on the clock, you see Latris stand up. I've got work to do. And he kind of gathers his data pad and throws it in a pocket and makes his way off the ship.
Bring Urath with you. You might need some protection.
Is
Or
Urath nearby?
someone to help you intimidate.
He's around wherever. He's not. He doesn't really do much around the ship unless he's asked to, but he's always at the ready.
I think the only thing I asked you to do was keep an eye on Latris. So maybe you're
So,
like
I
standing
figured
right
you were-
outside his door.
Yeah. As you, like, the door opens and you say that to me, I, like, look out, peek around the corner. All right, come along.
This is Eris's will.
Is this your will, Captain?
She looks over at Urath and says, behave. And then looks at Latris and is like, I think he can help.
To the right eye, he could draw a lot of attention. But that might not necessarily be a bad thing. He just kind of does this one of the head gestures and says, come on.
Am I simply on an escort mission with you then?
I guess so. You're to keep me safe.
Very well. I have some questions while we walk.
Hopefully I have answers. And he smiles.
Okay. And you guys start going. Did you actually have questions, or was that just a cute little RP thing?
No. He wants to ask him stuff, but we don't have to do it right now since I know we're a little bit pressed for time tonight.
Yep. So you guys are going to be able to meet with. So we'll cover that at the beginning of the next time. So let's make a note of that. But in the meanwhile, so remind me after, and I'll put it in my notes. So you guys are going to meet with Jaco. Meeting with him is relatively easy. He'll definitely meet with you, but he's going to meet with you at his office.
Okay.
So when you go walking in, it's one of those things where they're like, there's a desk there, so on and so forth. And you're like, excuse me, sir, how can I help you?
I'm here to have words with Senator Smabe.
So of course you've already made an appointment with them, and they say, not a problem. Your name? And they start like pulling up the directory.
Yep, Latris, blah blah blah.
Oh, unfortunately, I thought we had reached out to you. Your appointment was pushed back. He'll be able to meet with you. He thinks he can squeeze you in at the very end of the day. Do you mind sitting there and waiting for a little bit?
I have nothing better to do.
Okay. Well, I know that it is pretty late as it is, but he tends to work kind of late in his office. So if you don't mind waiting, as soon as he gives the word, I'll send you in.
So I'll plop a seat down.
How long are you going to be patient for?
Until this place closes.
This secretary doesn't leave, and I imagine you inquire at some point in time until Jaco does. And so, even though the place is pretty much closed, they're still there because Jaco's still there.
Sure. She'll have a long night then.
Okay. Eventually, the doors open up to his office, and he says a very friendly goodbye to a couple of businesswomen that he must have been having a conversation with, and looks confused at the two of you being there, like, what? Do I have an appointment? And then he kind of like realizes who you are, and he's like, oh, yeah, come in. And you guys go into his office, and he, you can see it's a very large office, the senator's office. We've all seen Star Wars,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
It's a very large office. There's chairs, there's big windows, so on and so forth. So he immediately goes over to a bar and pours himself a drink. He doesn't like offer to make you one, but as he walks away from it, and like it's kind of like, I forgot I had to do this. He gives like a lazy gesture towards the bar, like you guys can go to it as well if you'd like.
I don't want anything. Urath, you get a drink?
I do not need anything, no.
All right. Well, to the point then. Senator Smabe, how do you know Susil? And where can we get in touch with him?
Okay, that's going to be a coercion, because you knew that was information that's not very... That's kind of sensitive.
That's fine with me. Coercion against what?
I did not mean to do that.
You're fine. He's consistently... I'll take it anyways.
One and one?
Yeah, he's consistently that. Yep.
Okay.
The 1-1-1.
And I will use a light side point. Oop.
I already did on
Oh,
accident.
yeah. Whoops. Just give
I'll
us one
send
back.
one back. That's fine.
Does having a giant Deshade in the room give him a blue die?
Or remove the black die.
And actually, I'm going to use a dark side point to give you a downgrade. So
Okay.
you upgraded, I downgrade your upgrade.
Okay.
Do I assist?
Yeah.
Because because you're coercioning. Yeah, you give an assist.
So blue dice on my end. All right, coercion. Here we go.
Do it up.
Fail.
Oh.
I mean, my coercion's not very good, so it doesn't surprise me.
So
Yeah,
you say
not my
your
thing.
words, and he like clearly pauses, and then takes like it's like a sudden pause,
Mm.
and then he takes a pointed sip of his drink that lasts longer than you'd think. It's like one of those it rests after he takes a sip. It rests by his chin for a second.
Well, if he lets it rest and like goes for a second sip, of like questions wouldn't have to be asked if you weren't openly drinking with him in a bar in a very busy building.
I don't care that you saw me there. I find it curious that you know who he is.
It's my job to know things. You should know that.
Well, nonetheless, it's not information I'm selling at the moment.
Ooh.
Interesting you say that after giving me such lucrative things to sell.
Are you going to threaten me when we're currently in a bargain?
I thought you said it wasn't for sale. I thought we weren't bargaining.
You and I have already made a bargain. You know that. And then you're going to come in my door the very next day, interrupt my wonderful evening with
I'm
threats.
sorry, were you interviewing potential wives?
He walks over to his desk. He clearly presses a button on the desk. It's one of those things where in a short period of time there are going to be guards coming in the door. So
Urath. I look over at Urath. I look over at Urath. We have 30 seconds, a minute tops.
Well, do you want me to help you make him talk, or do you want me to barricade the door, or do you want me to just be ready to take care of whoever he's sending in?
Oh, if it was Mortimer, he would have just done it.
No, I just say it looks to Urath. You're a thinking man. What do you want to do?
I don't care. Whatever the most efficient thing is, I'm not worried about whatever he has coming in the door, but if you want the information fast, I have...
When you say that, I just gesture towards him.
All right, well, I guess I'm going to go 30 seconds. Huh? I'm going to quickly go over. I'm going to try to grab him.
As he hears this conversation, you start making your way over there. He goes over to his bar and immediately his desk and immediately starts pulling out a blaster that he has down there. Urath, do me a favor, make me an athletics check, please.
All right.
It's against just 2 purple. He's not very fast. He's slow. I've already described him. He was not coordinated.
I don't want to do the thing I want to do. Wow,
So-
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
So you get over there, and it's one of those things where as you approach, you don't get there before he has the blaster out. You get over there to the point where like he has the blaster out and aimed at you. So you guys actually have to roll an initiative to see who acts first, you shoot or him. And
Sure.
just got to be the two of you. That's fine.
Cool or
You're welcome to
vigilance?
roll on as well. This is cool.
I'm not gonna roll in unless emergency mode. I gotta look up a couple rules.
You said vigilance wrong.
Also, a reminder that I have to leave in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Hold on, I gotta roll this. Where is combat? There you are. And I gotta roll.
That's actually that has you weren't supposed to roll purple with that. Wait,
Oh,
Yeah,
well, the
just
purple
so you
didn't do
know.
anything.
So they
Guess we
they
got-
tied.
I guess we
Yeah.
tied, yeah.
So since they ties always go to the PC.
Cool.
Alright,
You get to
so-
act first.
Basically, I just want to tackle him or whatever, grab him and throw him down.
Hmm?
That's
a brawl.
Yeah, hoping to disarm him, I guess.
Sure. That's a brawl check.
Looking for brawl. Against what?
My apologies. Good question. That's a 2 purple for your brawl check, and you actually get a blue die because he's actually a feeble person. Huh. There you go. Almost,
Really?
almost Kyled that. So you actually go over there. You easily like he pulls out the gun. He points it at you. Clearly, he's like getting it lined up to take the shot. But you go over. You smack his hand to the side, and you just kind of like grab him and pick him up and just kind of like throw him down to the ground. And so now you're standing over him. It's not that he's let go of the gun, but it's definitely like loose in his hand right now as he's thrown down on the ground. What do either of you do?
I want to try to intimidate him while I have him down.
Sure.
So I imagine throwing him down helps with a blue dice or something.
What do you say as you try to intimidate him?
I've killed men far more physically powerful and intimidating than you. You will speak, either with all of your bones intact or with none of them intact. It matters not to me. Frankly, fighting you is the most boring thing I've done today.
Roll me your coercion check. You can take your blue die. Mike, do you do anything?
Not yet. I'm watching.
Against how many purples?
This is going to be your coercioning a senator. Unfortunately, it's still a purple and a red. You can use the light side. You have it.
Yeah, just to speed this up, I will.
Give yourself an upgrade, or me a downgrade.
I'll take the downgrade. I don't want to despair right now. Okay, so coercion.
Nice job.
So you say that, and you're kind of like leaning down over him, and it's not like you're going to enjoy this. It's clearly like, don't make me do this. And so he's like, fine. I did it. You gave me the chip. I had it unencrypted. He's heading there.
That's obnoxious.
I highly recommend you call off your men before I remove your head.
The door opens up, and the men come in. And he like looks to you, looks to the men. The guards, they pull their excuse me. He looks to you, looks to the guards, they pull out their heavy blaster rifles. They had them out. But they train them up at you, Urath. Like, what the fuck? So they send to go over to you. And then like there's that moment, that split second where it's like, shit's gonna go down. And then he's like, thanks for helping me back up. And like grabs like your hand as you're kind of like we're holding over him, just like awkwardly grabs like your wrist or whatever is nearby, and starts like using you to help pull himself up. I imagine
I
Urath.
allow him to pull himself up, but I keep a hold of him that very much insinuates like whatever part of him I'm touching will snap if he does anything I don't like.
Okay. He's like, sorry, man. I pressed the button by accident as I fell, but you don't have to go anywhere. I'm leaving anyways, so might as well escort me to my transport. Gentlemen, I'm glad we had this opportunity to speak. Keep in touch.
Urath will look at Laltris to make sure he's done and he's got what he wants.
He nods.
So Urath will like try to like almost play it off as like nicely letting him go, but firmly like give him a nice little squeeze before he goes to be like, don't try anything else.
He does one of those. He tries to play it off, but he's clearly like rubbing his arm or whatever it was that you were holding. like, oh, as he's going. And he's like, as he walks past the guards, he's clearly trying to play it off. He's like, strong boy. And walks between them and says to the secretary as he goes, says, is my itinerary now clear? And she's like, yes, sir. He's like, good, you're fired. And then storms through that other room and out the door.
Yeah, easy come, easy go. We need to go to Byblos. That's where he's going.
We should hire her. She can be my secretary.
Sarah.
Probably has a lot of information.
Yeah, true enough.
True, yeah, she would. At least on him.
I imagine when we're walking away, then with me and Urath walking away, Lotris might be like, "If you're looking for a job and you have about an hour to apply, we'll be in our ship," and I'll just give like the dock number.
Nice.
Harris's card.
She looks so confused. Like at first she was like confused and like starting to get upset, but now she's confused and so like what and
She got fired and offered a job in like 1 second. Like, what the hell?
When we leave the building, I'll just get on my comms and be like, "Eris, Susil's heading to Byblos."
Looks like we have a new destination then.
And then you just see walk in with Urath and be like, "About those questions," and just like, I'll leave that door open.
Yeah.
We start plotting for Byblos.
You're not going to be here next time, though, Mike, so I'm not going to ask you that.
Ask me the questions. Like if you want to roleplay the questions, we can wait till next time. If not, you can always like send them to me on Discord, and I'll answer what I can.
It'd be fun. Or, I don't know if funny is the word. It'd be good to roleplay, but we don't
I
have
agree.
to, since I know
you
Maggie.
know what we
has to
could
go.
do? We could always take a quick break because Maggie has to get out of here because she has adult things to do, and I don't mind coming back for an additional 20 minutes so you guys can have that moment.
I don't think it'll take that long, even. But Maggie needs to go. I don't want to hold you up. It's
Yeah.
nothing. It'll be nothing like super crazy, Maggie.
So that's perfectly fine with me if we've got to do that because I don't want
If
Maggie.
it's just gonna be like 5 minutes, I can totally hang out.
Sure.
If it's gonna,
All right, if you want to do that now, we can do it now then.
yeah.
Sure. So then you guys, this will even say like maybe there was a silent walk to the location, but the walk
Sure.
back, now that you guys had that moment, it's allowed Urath to open up a little bit more.
Now that we've worked together,
Yeah, we had a quick job.
don't say it like that.
Yay. Yeah, no, he just says, and about those questions.
What do you know of the Sith and what's become of them?
That's a heavy question to throw at me immediately.
Well, it's
What
heavy to wake up after thousands of years and find that everything that you know and were a part of is completely gone.
Yeah, I can imagine. Where your question specifically is where are the Sith now?
Yes.
Look around. Do you see any?
No.
There's your
But-
answer. The teachings of the Sith. Their whole grounds for how they operate, their decision making, the schools that they used to run, those don't exist anymore. Some time back, after your long sleep, a new institution was brought about, known as the Rule of Two, by the legendary Darth Bane. Do you know him? Have you heard about him? Have you done much reading since you've woken up, or no?
I imagine I would have tried. If it was anywhere that I could find information on, I would have found it. So
Yeah, it's questionable whether you would have found details, but his names might have floated by a few times. But Darth Bane was a Sith, part of the Sith Empire. He watched it crumble, partly due to his own machinations. He instituted something known as the Rule of Two. No longer will there be a Sith Empire, but only two Sith ever, sharing that power between them. The Sith innately, at least he believes, that they were always going to murder one another eventually. That their very own drives, their ambitions, their anger, their hatred would at some point drive Sith against one another and wipe them out. He expedited that process and instituted a Rule of Two. And that lasted for a while, allowed the Sith to operate underneath the eye of the opposites, the eye of the Jedi. And it worked for a while.
for a while.
Even took down the Jedi themselves. Yes, for a while. Now, well, seems we have a clean slate. The Jedi are all but gone, and the Sith are all but gone. Only those who tangentially understand their ancient teachings survive. If the rumors are to be believed, legendary Luke Skywalker is one of the remnants of what Jedi remain.
Well, then he must be destroyed. You know of my kind.
Yes.
You know of our purpose.
Yes.
I was a combatant, but also an educator. I helped the Sith.
Then we have a lot more in common than I initially anticipated.
I have a feeling that's why Eris looked for me and found me, as she knows this as well.
Then you might know this too. When you look at Eris, what do you see?
Someone young,
Yeah.
powerful in the Force, not in the way that I'm accustomed to, but in
True.
other ways. High ambition, and in need of training. She needs guidance, but if there are no more Sith, then that leaves the last of the Sith teachings in possibly me and then perhaps this holocron.
That's why I'm kind of here. She has ambition, but she's young, like you said. She's raw, emotionally, intellectually. She's been thrust into a seat of power well before she was ready for it. But, like you said, there's ambition and promise there, and I would like to hone that.
As would I. But if we are to train her, the question remains, can we train her as Sith? Or do we simply train her as best we can for what she is? Or I need to figure out how to hone my approach in a world that lacks the tools and resources that the one I was in had.
I believe that those who came before fell for a reason. Their intentions were noble, but their machinations in going about it were failures. I think what's best is to take what we believed worked and maybe push forward with a new line of thinking. One that isn't so strictly ruled of two, and one that is so strictly an empire. I don't think she'd do well under strict control, but she needs it right now. She needs something to guide her, to refine her.
I'm going to tell him like what happened with Naga and her response,
Yes, she's rash. Very, very rash.
which is fine. However,
For
I'm
now.
not sure she looked too kindly upon me, seen as an underling, trying to prove a lesson to her in front of her other underlings. Perhaps it should have been a private lesson. I'm still learning how to approach her. in a
Make
way that
sure
will be-
you have something she values and wants. Make yourself
Well-
indisposable.
I think we both know I have knowledge and
You and I both have things that she needs.
yes.
We should have more conversations, Urath.
Agreed.
You and I, and he reaches forward. He reaches into his pocket, and he palms something. He looks at it for a moment. You see him think, then pockets it again. We need to have conversations. I think we will both want what's best for her. Do you trust Kuka?
I think Kuka's pretty blindly devoted to Eris, so I trust Kuka as much as I trust her.
Fair enough. I have many questions for you too, but for another day, when we're in space and we have time.
Agreed. Time is a bit of the essence right now, but all I know, all I have left is my knowledge of the Sith Empire, and to help further her and train her, I just needed to know if we had any other resources around other than this holocron, or if the Sith were indeed gone. And I now believe I have my answer.
They're not as gone as you'd believe, but they're not what you remember.
I will meditate on this, and we shall speak further.
Agreed. And then Locke just kind of goes to some very light conversation before we get back to the ship kind of thing. That's all.
Okay.
Agreed.
And I feel bad for Doxy. At least Wade got that last little bit. Doxy was just like, hi, Doxy. Hi.
It's okay. This is the character I signed up for.
Well, so
I get the
that-
most laughs, so I'll take it.
You gotta weigh it, man. You gotta get the laughs on this one and the drama with Cora. So you gotta
Yeah, dude.
weigh it out.
two different character types.
Exactly.
It's kind of nice to play a chill character. That's why I'm always like, oh, I love Tara because she's so chill. Like I don't have to do much.
Same with Mortimer. During the trade negotiations, oh god, it was so nice not to have to think.
So, as you guys get back to the ship, or as that information goes to you, like we'll start plotting a course for Biblos or whatever. You see that Bezwi actually never allowed the timer to be deleted. Just throws it back up on the screen for you exactly where it should be for the amount of time that's elapsed, so that it's ready to go. So you actually see it. It's like as soon as you say that, all of a sudden you like turn around to walk, and like you see all the screens have the timer counting down. The time plays out as we had already described it. The next morning or day, whatever it is, the gentlemen show up. You have the conversation with the triplets, the human triplets, and then they leave. Eventually, and once again, Bezwi's not an idiot. He flies out of there at the top speed that you're allowed to go without even so much as a kilometer of an hour over the top speed that you're allowed to go, and leaving the atmosphere because he's excited to go, but never gets in trouble. So with you guys leaving the atmosphere, and it's preparing for hyperspace to jump to Biblos, we will have the camera do the fadeaway thing it always does in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Maggie, because you gotta go, you talk first.
Sure. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited. So we're gonna play General's Directive next week.
No, week after. Fitz next week.
The week after.
General
So
Durham.
Fitz next week. I'm excited to see what happens to Tara then.
Yeah, Siam's
of
not
course,
so fun.
I find it very convenient that Cecil is headed to Biblos because I can get two birds with one stone. It's great. I'm curious to see when we'll catch up with him or will happen if it's a battle to see who can get it first. But you guys can find me at Margaret Crone and all the places super easy: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everything. I am doing a lot of tabletop games. I am in 7 campaigns a week. So if you're interested in some more campaigns, come get some. Yeah, it is insane. So my schedule is up on my Twitter if you want to check out the latest pinned post. And I do a lot of other stuff. So if you guys want to check out all of the gameplay stuff that I'm doing, I upload new gameplay videos every single day over at Margaret Crone Plays on YouTube. And I think that covers everything.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye, Maggie. Get out of here, you nugget.
Okay. Bye, people. I'm going to mess up your all your stuff if I leave though.
No, we're fine.
You're good. Don't worry.
Okay. Cool. Peace.
Bye.
Deuces.
All right. Wade.
Next.
Wade, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm Wade.
Oh, this is a glitched out mess. This is great. This is going to be like the rest of the show
Oh
now.
god.
You know what? You don't have
I see your shirt at the top of my head. It's very unfortunate.
you don't have a
Why is it
second.
at the top of your head.
You
I'm
don't have
there
like
twice.
a second thing, so you click it once and it automatically adjusts for 4 people instead of 5.
Good, good, Wade.
I'm Wade, Lord Minion 777 on YouTube, Minion 777 on Twitch. You can find me here tomorrow for Dark Sun. I'll be playing my half-giant Psionic Warrior Mortifer. I post 2 videos a day on my YouTube channel. I try to stream, but I always fail. However, occasionally something happens there, and it's a magical moment when it does. And I'm married and I have puppies. That's it.
Hooray!
That's what you know about me.
Doxy, your turn.
Ooh, am Doxy, am gross, am fart slide.
Cool, Scott, your turn.
I think I'm trying to find myself.
Aren't we all,
Sorry,
Scott?
Yeah, it's like, that's just life, man.
No, do you have me mirrored? Is that why?
There you are. Oh, oh, yep, go a little further and go down a little bit. There, perfect, you're in, you're
There
good.
we go. It's because I'm mirrored. That's why. What's up? How's everybody doing? I'm Diller. Mike's an idiot, but we already knew that. So
Fun idiot.
You can find me everywhere as Diller. That's easy to do. I have something special happening in 2 weeks. I can't announce what it is yet, but it's cool. It's different for me. So yay, that's exciting. Other than that, yeah, I'm just doing my typical, what is it, bunch of games a week and all that stuff, and yeah.
There we go, everybody peeking. Just eyes, just eyes.
Hey.
All right, that's it, everybody. Goodbye.